Good morning, gamers. Welcome to The Quiet Part. In today's video, the premise is hilarious and the funniest thing I've ever thought of in my entire life. In this stream, we are going to be reading this document you can see up here on the top right. That is called the Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise 2025, otherwise known as Project 2025. The Project 2025 document, which is over 900 pages. So the joke and the purpose of this stream is a few things. One, this is called The Quiet Part. If you're new to the channel, that's awesome. Thank you. Please get subscribed. I like to do things on this channel where I learn things that you're not supposed to, right? And I feel like this document has been talked about so much by so many different sources, but how many people have actually sat down with it and tried to read it themselves? Now, I wonder if the goal of this document is to make you not read it because it is 900 pages. So what I'm going to do to force myself, my ADHD self, to actually listen to any of this is I'm going to try and beat Minecraft while I do it. And I tested this yesterday and I am able to retain enough focus to actually do this while listening to this document. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate a new world so you can see it fresh, so you know I'm not like Dream. I'm not cheating. I'm not a Minecraft cheater, and I also can't speedrun Minecraft either, so this will take hours. But my motivation is I don't have to keep reading this if I beat Minecraft first. And I don't want to keep reading this because it's so bad. Let's go ahead and get started. So in the top right window, you will see this is my window of Project 2025. I'm using it in Microsoft Edge, just like when I was in college. The way that I use this is I use the read aloud function, which is actually really nice, and it's like a great educational tool. So I'm going to have it set to read aloud, and it is going to read aloud. I have the volume down a fair bit lower than me, so that way it's not too annoying. I'm going to personally go through the intro pages because I already know what they're like, and we really should kind of skip through them instead of reading them literally. The document is called Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise, otherwise known as Project 2025. The foreword is by Kevin Roberts, who is apparently a doctor, Kevin Roberts, edited by Paul Dans and Stephen Groves. There are going to be many, many, many names in this document. I've already seen the intro part, but let's get an overview of what we're going to be forced to read. Hopefully we only have to get about halfway through before I beat Minecraft. So let's talk about the sections of the Conservative Promise. Section 1 is called Taking the Reins of the Government. Section 2 is called the Common Defense. Great, so that's just going to be military. Section 3, the General Welfare. That will be very fun. I will like that section because it'll be so ridiculous. Section 4, the Economy, is going to turn my brain into mush. That's going to be terrible. Section 5, Independent Regulatory Agencies. Oh, that's like a libertarian anti-federalism type of vibes. Oh, there's only 5 sections. For a giant work this big, that's actually not that bad. How is this worse than it was before? Read aloud.
We want you. The 2025 presidential transition.
All right, I'm going to slow it down a bit.
Unified effort to be ready for the next conservative administration to govern.
All right, there we go. It's going to auto scroll. You can hear a little bit.
Save for this band of
I've already read this intro part, so I'm not paying a lot of attention. It's just essentially overviewing that a bunch of crazy people got together and decided to do this. Sheep, I need a bed.
The Conservative Promise.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to read this.
It's not 1980.
It's not 1980. I remember reading that myself beforehand. I read about 4 pages before the stream. Yeah, that's where it starts. Take a shot every time they say the word woke or Marxism.
American citizens and conservative values, with freedom and liberty under siege as never before. The task at hand to reverse
this is written like a high schooler.
Republic to its original moorings is too great for any one conservative policy shop to
I had to Google what moorings mean.
It requires the collective
It's like something related to boats.
With the quickening approach of January 2025, we have 2 years and 1 chance to get it right.
Dude, this is so scary sounding. Out of context.
Is more than 50 and growing of the nation's leading conservative organizations.
So they say it here explicitly. They're one of the leading conservative organizations. They're not just some crazy side group. Yeah, so from the first few pages I read of this document, the biggest thing I saw is that really it's a document about deciding who should be in next President Trump's cabinet, essentially. Like just who should work in his cabinet and what their policies should be.
Look at
I feel like y'all
America under the
discredited
ruling and
yourselves.
cultural elite today. Inflation is ravaging family budgets.
Inflation is in
Overdose
fact
deaths
bad.
continue to escalate, and children suffer
general
toxic
opioid
normalization of
epidemic is terrible.
transgenderism with drag queens and
Oh yeah, that
pornography
shit.
invading their school libraries.
Dude, that shit's crazy.
Overseas,
Transgenderism
the
with drag
totalitarian
queens
communist
and pornography.
dictatorship in
You're
Beijing
putting
is
them
engaged
together?
in a strategic, cultural, and economic cold war against
Oh right, and now they're
America's
doing the
interests,
anti-China
values,
stuff.
and people, all while
Interesting thing. I'm gonna pause the reading for a second. I made a joke about this when I was doing the test live stream, and I got about this far before. One of the unusual things, right, is that sometimes, out of context, this document will say things that are like moderately reasonable. And I'm not talking about social things. Pretty much every single bit of anything involving people's personal rights is terrible in this document. But occasionally it will just say very broad and sort of empty things that like generally have a meaning. Like sure, like I might dislike Reagan's policies, and he was a very bad warmonger as well, but I don't find that it's absurd to say that, yeah, like the concept of freedom and the fight against fascism is always just a presidency or 2 or 3 away. and the irony is, like, what is this quote literally? Freedom is a fragile thing that's never more than 1 generation away from extinction. That's funny because, like, tomorrow Trump gets inaugurated, and yeah, they're right. Freedom is never more than 1 presidency away at this point, right?
society where most children grow up without their married parents. If current trends continue, we are heading towards social
Okay, I'm just gonna hit that for some bullshit real quick. What did they just say? The world has never seen a thriving, healthy, free, and prosperous society where most children grow up without their married parents. I want to pull up any historian who actually knows about some of the crazier things that the lauded Western societies did. I'm talking about Rome. I'm talking about Sparta. I'm talking about Athens. I'm talking about how they did their things. I don't know, man. You can't idolize cultures and communities from the Bible, from history, in which people went to war and fought crusades, and children did grow up without their parents. You can't laud the cultural outcomes of those things and then also say, however, it's, you know, society will never succeed. No, wars happened. Crazy cultural dynamics happened. The idea of like raising a child as a village, the idea of socially diffusing the responsibility of rearing children, is a massive part of human society and anthropology. And to just say that, hey, if you don't follow the nuclear family dynamic, it guarantees society will collapse, I think that's just extremely ignorant of any actual history or anthropology. Like, that's just dumb as shit. God, that's dumb. I'm totally going to get blown up by a creeper right now. Like, I'm scared. And then this next paragraph is terrifying. Like, the concept of being trans is pornography. Like, I actually do not understand the mental gymnastics that is, but that's their gymnastics.
Pornography should be outlawed. The people who produce and
Yeah,
distribute
I want to
it
know
should
if
be
every
imprisoned.
conservative agrees that pornography should be
Educators and
outlawed,
public
because I love it
librarians
when
who
that shit
purvey
comes
should
out.
be classified as registered sex offenders.
Whoa, what
And
the fuck?
telecommunications and
What the fuck
technology
did I just
firms that
read?
facilitated
Educators and public librarians who purvey it should be classed as registered sex offenders. Oh my god. Holy shit, they're actually insane. The people who produce and distribute it should be... Oh, pornography. Oh, well, I mean, okay, wait. I thought they meant like talking about transgender or reproductive health care. Here's the issue, though. They consider pornography anything they disagree with. Like, the Bible has a lot of nudity and a lot of violence in it and a lot of other explicit shit. I mean, we're talking about SA. We're talking about the R word, like in the Bible. Okay, so like if a child or adult were to pull the Bible off the shelf at a library, the librarian is now a sex offender? It's y'all's fucking book. What fuck do you mean pornography? That's the thing, is they're just going to define it as anything they disagree with. Now, let's take it out of context again. This is one of those things. Yeah, I mean, I do generally agree that like if a librarian is like showing literal, actual literal pornography to kids, yeah, that person's a creep. So is that teacher. They probably are sex offenders. But like, that doesn't, no, like a piece of document that happens to depict a person naked or even engaging in broad sex acts is a completely different thing. Like, holy shit, that's educational. That's completely different context. I mean, for God's sake, everyone in my age group had to watch the video for health class, which was a person giving birth. You're gonna call that pornography? That was just important for us to fucking understand. Yeah. Porn just means trans people existing. 100%. That is exactly how they interpret this. They're just like, no, it's the existence of anything that isn't missionary soaking with me and my Mormon buddies. They're talking about checks and balances. Cool. I took school. It's so bullshit. Like, they're shitting on public education, but then the only reason I understand what they're talking about is because I was taught about separation of, sorry, what is it called? Checks and balances between different parts of the government. I learned that in high school. Public high school. The only reason you know about it is because you were taught about it in public high school. You, the authors. What? You can't write an entire document where the entire premise is that you're you're essentially advocating for what political bureaucrats should join the next president's cabinet? You can't say that and then also say the president must move swiftly to do away with these vast abuses of presidential power and remove career and political bureaucrats who fuel it. Fine then, if they're career bureaucrats and politicians, let's go through all the names of the people this document listed and see how old they are. Because if they're career, they're probably 40 or older, aren't they? How many of these people are old as shit? How many of your people are the people you are complaining about? The hypocrisy's psycho. The hypocrisy's impressive. I'm not going to psychoanalyze the conservative right, but like, it's tempting.
Constitutionally, the president can restore public confidence and accountability to our most important government function of all, national defense. The American people desire a military full of highly skilled servicemen and women who can protect
Does the American people desire
overseas.
A military?
The next conservative president must end the left's social experimentation with the military, restore warfighting as its sole mission, and set defeating the threat of the Chinese Communist Party as its highest priority.
Oh my god, that is terrifying.
The next conservative president must
They're just actual warmongers and they say it explicitly.
The interests of the everyday American over the desires of the ruling.
The interest of the everyday American is not war. You actually do polls and it's consistent. Americans don't actually want war anymore. Something hidden and hopeful about the fact that the right needs to rely so hard on that appeal to I don't know what to call it, appeal to punk, appeal to rebellion, appeal to spite. As much as it sucks to see that they are playing the game well and they're going to win people's hearts by doing it, and they have won people's hearts for American history doing it, both sides have, there's some hope in the fact that that works on people at all and that that's a go-to, right? The idea of talking about your grocery prices, the idea of talking about the well-being of people you love, which is called a family. They just can't comprehend that that might be not the way they like it. It's not a single mother killer. Like, it's, I don't even know what to say, but the fact that that appeal works on people is a hopeful thing, because that means if at some point any semblance of a reasonably common sense, egalitarian, non-bigoted, non-exclusionary movement, if that forms, there will be hope in that appeal says something maybe about people. Maybe this could very well also be one of those situations where it's code, right? Like, this language is just code that's used for empowering exclusionary people and bigots and, I mean, fascists, right? It could just be code. And that's just all it actually means. Go away, zombie. I'm trying to talk about politics. How dare you? Yeah, fuck off. Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be a hidden sliver of hope in the fact that appeals to rebellion and spite and change and anti-authority and anti-big government, the fact that those are the go-to for this group might actually be a little bit of a hopeful thing, because that, if that sentiment really is American and popular and common, that's not bad. And that's something that I think people can work with, because I think that sort of thing does lead to people's well-being. The question is whether or not the people that appeal is being used on actually have any interest in the well-being of people that don't look like them or practice like them. That's the other thing. It's the likelihood that it is fundamentally exclusionary at the end of the day, no matter what. Okay, I'm going to use this waterfall to get down. And I'm not going to die when I do it.
department or agency, incoming policy councils will need to move rapidly to lead policy processes
gotcha.
around
Hold on.
cross-cutting
I can see
agency
myself well,
topics,
too.
including countering
Back to
China,
the game, trying to beat
enforcing
it. Actually
immigration
tired,
laws,
don't want to do this
reversing
anymore.
regulatory policies
I'm only
in
30
order to
pages
promote
into like
energy
900.
production, combating the left's
I'm gonna
aggressive
die.
attacks on
Okay,
life
cool.
and religious to the effective financial stewardship of taxpayer dollars.
Oh my god, I'm getting tired.
OMB can
It's
then direct
been
on behalf of a president
nearly
the
3
amount,
hours.
duration, and purpose of any
I'm getting
enforcement
tired.
funding to ensure against waste. The two
I've
most
got plenty of
important
obsidian. It's
offices
essentially
for
time
moving
to
OMB
ship
at the
out
will
of here,
a
essentially.
director are the Budget Review Division, BRD,
I'm gonna collect all my
and the
stuff,
Office of General
and then
Counsel,
go up top.
OGC. The director should have a direct
Take
and
that.
effective
That'll be
relationship
useful.
with the head of the
Iron has to come
BRD,
with, eggs have
considered
to
the
come
top
with,
career
bones have
official
to come
within
with.
OMB, and
Wheat
transmit
seeds, a
most
chest,
instructions
potato,
through that
and ender
office because the
pearl.
rest of the agency is
steal some
institutionally
wood.
inclined toward its direction and
Get
responds
organized
accordingly.
for shipping out.
The BRD inevitably will translate the directions from policy officials to the career staff.
Wheat seeds,
And
I
at
need
every
saddle.
stage,
I don't really
it
need
is
saddle.
obviously
No.
vital that the director ensure that this
Don't need this extra
translation is an accurate
cobblestone.
one.
Those can be stacked.
In addition, many key considerations
stack.
involved in enacting a
That's an
president's agenda
enchanted
become
golden
existing
apple.
legal authorities.
What?
The director must
When did I
ensure
get
the
that? Was that in
appointment
that
of a
chest?
general counsel who is respected yet
Oh
creative
my
and
god.
fearless in his or her
That's
ability
huge.
to challenge legal precedents.
I'm
that
gonna get
serve
rid
to
of birch
protect
planks
the
because
status
I'm
quo.
racist against birch planks
This
specifically.
is vital within OMB not only with respect to the
Just don't
adequate
like
development
them.
of policy options for the president's review. Yet over the years, funding for OIRA
All
has
right.
diminished.
We're hitting the high seas,
This
boys.
trend should be reversed. The budget should also include sufficient
Plenty of
full-time
food.
equivalent (FTE) employees
Plenty
to
of
form
gear.
regulatory advance teams that would consult with agencies on cost-benefit analysis and good regulatory practices at the beginning of the rulemaking
If I defeat
process
my
for the
enemies
most
across
important
the sea,
regulations.
will we be
These
free?
teams would help agencies take cost-benefit analysis
literally
into account
Aaron
from
Yeager.
the beginning of their rulemaking efforts, which in turn would result in higher quality regulations and a
Ah,
swifter
that's a
eventual
lot
OIRA review.
of
To preserve
paper
the
I could
integrity of
make,
OIRA
which would be
review,
good
the
for
staff who
enchanting if
consult
I
at the
want to
beginning
enchant
of a
later.
rulemaking should not
I don't
handle
know what
its
kind of side
eventual
quest I should
review.
make that. I don't know if I
The
should
next
genuinely
president
just
should
try
also
to
reinstate
get to the
the
Ender
many
Dragon as soon as
executive orders
possible
signed
and
by
like absolutely
President Trump that
massacre
were
it,
designed to make the
or
regulatory process more just,
I
efficient,
should
and transparent.
try to
Executive
purposely take this
orders
slow and actually build an enchantment room and get like diamond armor and stuff, or if I should just try and do it with steel because I'm not good. Like I'm not, I don't know if we'll be able to beat him. Dogs. Do I have bones? Please give me a dog. I'd do anything for a dog right now.
Executive Order 131317 on federalism should be strengthened so
I
that
got a
state
dog.
regulatory and fiscal operations are not
It's
commandeered by the
it's
federal.
over. I'm gonna destroy this game. I have a dog now. Come on,
Mandate
dog.
for
Teleport.
leadership,
Let's
the
go.
conservative promise.
Let's build a home somewhere.
Government through so the vice president.
Hey, there we go.
OVP.
Wait a minute. This is a way better
The
camera. I
vice
should have been using
president
this the whole
is elected
time.
to the second highest
Why wasn't I
office
using
in
this the whole
nation and
time?
plays a constitutionally vital
This is
role
so
as
much better.
president in waiting.
And the aspect ratio is better too. What am I,
vice president
stupid?
is also-
Okay. Yeah, this is peak. This is love
62.
this.
Overview. From the very first mandate for leadership,
I'm starting to get tired of this guy's voice, the AI voice I'm using. Not AI. Well, I mean, maybe it's AI, but the Microsoft Edge voice to text.
as the
text
US
to voice.
Constitution makes clear in the federal
Did they just
bureaucracy.
reference the
Yet,
actual
as
New
public
Deal?
frustration with the civil service has grown, generating calls to drain the swamp, it has become clear that their project has had serious unintended consequences.
Oh, so they're shitting on the New Deal. I was
The
like, there's
civil
no way they're
service
ever
was
going to praise
devised
it.
to replace the amateurism and presumed corruption of the old
Be
spoils
0%
system,
chance that they
wherein
would ever
government jobs
praise the New
rewarded
Deal.
loyal partisans
Because
who might
that
or
was
might not have
FDR, who was the
professional background.
antithesis of Reagan.
Although the system appeared to be sufficient for the nation's first century, progressive intellectuals and activists demanded a more professionalized, scientific, and politically neutral administration.
I'm sorry,
Progressives
did
designed
they
a
just
merit system to
call
promote
these negative
expertise and
actives?
shield bureaucrats from partisan political pressure, but it soon began to insulate civil
Oh,
servants
so their
from
logic is
accountability.
science is
The
bureaucracy.
modern merit system increasingly made it almost impossible to fire all but the most incompetent civil servants. Complying with arcane rules regarding recruiting, rating, hiring, and firing simply replaced the goal of cultivating competence and expertise. In the 1970s, Georgia Democratic Governor Jimmy Carter, then a political unknown, ran for president supporting New Deal programs and their Great Society expansion but opposing the way they were being administered. The policies were not actually reducing poverty, increasing prosperity, or improving the environment, he argued. Lead to permanent and substantive reductions.
Oh my God, they say that Obama does good shit, and then they're like, it doesn't matter though, it was terrible. It's exactly what we're gonna do, but we don't like it. So fuck them.
As mentioned, there are 2 million federal employees.
If anything, saying the quiet part out, it's Republicans explicitly saying that the difference between them and Democrats is nearly nothing.
Federal employees from within.
Can they just say that shit? An effective diplomatic corps is central to defending our interest in influencing world events. Jesus Christ. We get to pretend to be isolationists when it comes to all of this shit. And then we're like, by the way, we get to determine the outcome of the entire world, and we're going to use our military personnel to do it. In fact, that's the entire purpose of an effective diplomatic corps. What? It's just actual fascism. I don't know what to say. Like, what do you say to that? Other than, like, we want to use our military to defend our interests, sure, our economic interests in other people's land that is not ours, and then influence world events. Motherfucker, you talk about isolationism earlier, about like, we need to not be engaging in trade with China, but then you're also like, we should also influence the world events of everyone else. You can't have both. That's tyranny. That's just actual, I don't know how to describe that other than like authoritarian fascism. That's colonialism? What are the other words? Like, holy shit. If there's never a greater example of American exceptionalism, we should have the right to not engage with the global economy and totally be independent regardless of helping other people around us. But however, we have a right to determine world events. Fuck you. What? I'm losing it. Like, this one's crazy. I can't believe they can just say that shit.
Within.
And everyone's okay with it? Like,
former State Department Director of Policy System that uses private medical records of potential recruits at military entrance processing stations, MEPs,
I hope, because here's the thing, I'm not an expert on anything war, right? I'm not an expert on anything war violence and deep, complicated geopolitical warfare conflict shit. I'm not an expert on any of that at all. No, I just have my opinions, right? I hope that no matter how much I learn about the art of war and modern warfare and safety and risks and compromise and weighing lies, I hope that no matter how much I ever learn, my opinion stays the exact fucking same, that war is stupid as shit, and if you care about soldiers, stop fucking killing them. Like, I hope for the rest of my life that opinion never changes. It's not because I particularly want to stick to whatever it is I already believe, it's simply because I hope that I am able to retain enough hope and kindness. What the fuck did they just say? I'm sorry, I'm talking about how I want to make sure I always am against war, and they just said fucking what? Entrance criteria for military service in specific occupational career fields should be based on the needs of those positions. Exceptions for individuals who are already predisposed to require medical treatment, for example, HIV positive or suffering from gender dysphoria. What the fuck are those your specific examples? What do you mean, for example, HIV positive or suffering from gender dysphoria? What about obesity or diabetes? If you're going to be ableist, which, hey, it's one of those jobs, right? Fuck it. This is so neoliberal, right? This is just 1 second. This is so neoliberal. The thing of like, well, we got to make sure that we're inclusive of everyone to go sell their souls to the government and kill fucking people overseas so they can come back with PTSD and be left homeless to kill themselves. I hate how neoliberal it is. Like, we got to be more inclusive on making soldiers. They want to remove exceptions. They want to come down on and restrict people from serving as soldiers who may be HIV positive or experience gender dysphoria. But the sentence before it is, we want to avoid those who are predisposed to require medical treatment. Why the fuck are your examples HIV positive and gender dysphoria? Like, how lazy and obvious are you that you're just homophobic? Like, how do you just make it more obvious that you just hate f***s? Like, I don't know what the fuck to say to this. Holy shit, I'm queer. Just want to make it clear for record that I'm queer. That's why I said that. Oh my god, you can't make it more obvious that, like, one, I don't want to be neoliberal in saying that they're being ableist by excluding others based on medical needs. They are ableist by excluding others based on medical needs. However, it is a job that requires certain physical fitness in certain cases. I cannot wait for the neoliberal propaganda of like, the military is inclusive because this person has a mobility issue. They're in a wheelchair, but they're piloting a drone with an Xbox controller, so we're still inclusive. Go murder people. Go get PTSD. Like, there's nothing inclusive about being like, let's get more people to get themselves killed and traumatized. But, you know, so that's the neoliberal perspective. It's like, oh, we should include everyone to be soldiers and go kill themselves for our money. I want to acknowledge that is neoliberal as shit. I want to acknowledge that is wrong. And I also want to acknowledge that, like, excluding people for jobs is generally not cool too. Both those things can be true. What they're saying here is that they're gonna tighten restrictions for if you have an illness that the Department of Defense might have to pay for, you should not be allowed to be a soldier. Why the fuck are their only examples HIV and gender dysphoria? What about, like, depression and, like, antisocial personality disorder and, like, obesity, diabetes, asthma? I have terrible fucking unbelievably chronic asthma. They're going to mention only whether or not I'm HIV positive and experience gender dysphoria, not like the fact that, like, I will die 30 feet into the trench because I have asthma. What the fuck kind of dude? This is just crazy. Like, it's the opposite of neoliberal. It's neocon. It's like just the dumbest. Holy shit. We got to feed the machine, boys. However, not the gays. Can't be feeding the machine gays. Might gum up the system. The US is so cringe too for all of their, like, pro-military bullshit. What do you mean? Yes, the history of warfare is such that it was fought a lot by men, and guess what they did? They fucked each other a lot. That shit was gay as hell. Oh my god. You can't even take the homoerotic subtext out of soldier relationships, soldier brotherhood. You can't even take it out if you try. So if you exclude anyone who might be gay, it's over, because they're the foundation of good warfare. Oh my god, this is so terrible to read. That was such a random thing to read in the middle of the thing I was saying. I hope that when I'm older and I've learned more about warfare and all these compromises we make to assure our safety and the extent to which they may or may not be valid, I hope that I never change and I still believe that war is an anti-soldier thing. It's an anti-human thing. I hope that never changes. Yeah, whatever the fuck I just read was insane.
To distributed, low-signatory operations in a contested maritime environment will make funds available for modernization. Mandate for leadership.
I will almost guaranteedly die once or twice in here. Not even once or twice, probably many times.
Eliminate all USMC law enforcement battalions.
Okay, I'm gonna
at least one Marine infantry regiment into a Marine
increase my render distance psychotically.
The size of remaining infantry battalions. 2. Divest systems or equipment that are better suited to heavier U.S. Return CISA to its statutory and important but narrow mission. The bloated DHS bureaucracy and budget, along with the wrong priorities,
oh my god, they're calling the Department of Homeland Security bloated and inefficacious and all this stupid shit. But
these opportunities include privatizing TSA.
They don't think that way about the military itself? Why? I don't get it.
Insurance program, reforming FEMA emergency spending to shift the majority of preparedness and response costs to states and localities instead of the federal government, eliminating most of fund a dedicated team of political appointees.
Oh my god, I've been through every fucking biome in the game in the Nether already. I hate... There's a reason that I hate the Nether. It's because every time I go, I can't find a fortress quickly enough.
Help ensure the completion of the next president's agenda.
What the hell are Blackies
commonly
warrants?
used for worksite enforcement when agents have probable cause that
illegal aliens are employed at a business. So
this would
Jesus,
streamline
man.
investigations.
This is just like sniffing people out. This is fucked.
Will require not just securing the border, but
you place the word. This is so. This is. I'm gonna say it. This is lazy of me to say this. I'm just pissed. But if you replace the word immigrant with Jew, I'm just saying. Shit becomes really obvious real quick. Right?
143.
I understand, obviously.
Budget.
being of the Judaism
Now,
faith
Congress should
is
mandate
a
and
thing
fund
that a person
additional
can't
bed
particularly
space for
choose.
alien detainees. ICE should be
It's an
funded for a
ethnicity, it's
significant
complicated.
increase in
Being an
detention
immigrant is
space,
obviously
raising
technically
the
something
daily
a person can
available number of
choose.
beds
They're
to
not comparable. I get it. I get it. I get it.
Congress should
However,
fund ICE for at least 20,000 ERO officers and 5,000
I mean, they're tracking them
office of the
down,
principal legal
like,
advisor,
with the
OPLA,
exact same
attorneys.
vibes. The exact
US
same
Citizenship and
aggressive,
Immigration Services,
violent vibes to
USCIS.
track these fucking people down.
For spots in the Q.L repeal TPS
Only if you
designations.
provide
LH1B reform.
support
Transform the
to law enforcement,
program into an
you're
elite
allowed in?
mechanism exclusively to bring in the
What
best
the
and brightest
fuck?
at the highest wages while simultaneously ensuring that U.S. workers are not being disadvantaged by the program. H-1B is a means only to supplement
H-1B,
the
they're
US
talking about it a
economy and
lot.
keep companies
Dude,
competitive,
maybe this
not to
is
depress
why,
U.S. labor markets artificially in certain industries.
maybe this is
Department of
why
Homeland Security.
it was talked about so much recently, because maybe
151.
this was like a
Unemployment
well-known
authorization,
policy
along
among
with the
conservatives.
legislative proposal
So
to
with the
take
whole Elon
regulatory
thing, the
actions
reason
to
it blew
limit
up
the
is
classes of
because
aliens eligible
it
for
was a
work
big thing,
authorization.
right?
Order
They just
Crossers
said
1. Direct the Department of State and the
allows
Department of
the,
Homeland Security
the executive
to
branch
reinstate asylum
to ignore the will of
cooperative
Congress.
agreements with Northern Triangle countries
They
immediately.
are
Point
the
2.
executive
Recommence
branch. I don't
negotiations with
understand,
Mexico to
like,
fully implement the Remain in Mexico Protocol.
I don't understand.
3. Reinstate, to the extent possible,
This is the
expedited
craziest
pathways
shit in
with
this.
full credible fear/immigration court process. PCR and HARP. Point 4. Prohibit the use of
But again,
notices
I'm
to
wondering if
report,
the
the
reason
use
that
of
we
any
heard
funds
so
for
much about
travel into the
H-1B
interior
here
of the United
and Elon Musk and Trump fighting about it or
and
something,
government
or
flights
just his
transportation
base
for
fighting
aliens. 5.
Musk about it,
Mandate that ICE
is
use all
because this
detention
is like a
space in full
well-known
compliance
policy
with Section
documented even in
235
this
of the
document.
INA. Issue
And
weekly
so,
reports
of
on
course, it's going to be a
detention
hot topic
capacity
between
and
someone who
provide
relies on
authority for low-level
H-1B
temporary
and then
capacity, for example.
the actual
Tense.
person that's
Once
supposed to
permanent
govern.
space is full. Point 6.
That's so
Eliminate the
interesting.
use of
That's like an
H-1B
insight
for
into whether or not this
border
document
crossers,
actually
except in
really
rare cases
does capture
handily with the
what is the
explicit authority
Conservative
of the
Party thinking
Secretary.
about.
Point 7. Prohibit the use of parole except in matters that are certified by the of state under which they
Listen,
have
all I heard a
served.
second ago was essentially that the Secretary of State should never hold its own opinion and it should bow directly to the President always, which
they need not be adversaries of a
I don't
conservative
know.
president,
A
Secretary
thought
of
that I've been
State,
having,
or the team
which
of
means I'm
political
going to ignore
appointees.
the
Reboot
I'm going to ignore reading for just a little bit while I get this thought out. The thought I've had suddenly is that it feels distinctly like there is no foresight in this document. They're talking as if, and I want you to pay attention to this, I just want you to notice that, like, the United States with the whole democracy election thing, even going back to like George Washington, there's this big focus on this idea of like letting it pass and moving forward, right? Like at some point we've got to let the previous president go. We can only have so many terms. At some point the US has to see change, right? And so it's going to ebb and flow. Even former President Biden said in his H. Jover address, he said, like, hey, it's going to be a bumpy road. It's going to have ups, it's going to be downs, but America will survive and it will be fine. He was trying to make people feel good, and I didn't really agree with that actual sentiment, but that is what he was saying. And what I found notable was that, you know, Joe literally is like saying, hey, like, there is a chance that we can come out on the other side of this. There's a chance that we will figure things out, and, you know, there'll always be another president, right? It'll cycle back and forth. The thing that I am noticing about this entire document is it doesn't seem to be accounting for the reality that, like, a president who is not Trump may come after, or that it's possible for a progressive or Democrat president to ever take back over. Because they seem to be inferring that every arm of the federal government needs to bend to Trump's policy, the conservative promise, which would be really short-sighted, because were that to change, and instead any number or amount of liberals or leftists or neoliberals or progressives were to take the federal office, which they will eventually, I'm certain,
Implement repair.
it doesn't
The
make
State
room
Department
for that
must
to
change
happen.
its handling of international agreements
Which,
to
to
restore
me,
constitutional governance.
infers that these
Under
people
prior
believe
administrations,
that Trump
unnecessary
will be the
institutional
last
factors in
president.
the department caused.
Like, it'll be him forever.
174.
It'll be Republicans forever.
Department of State.
That's what it sounds like. I don't know what to say. Like, that's what it sounds like, is that
approving and implementing treaties
because they seem so focused on creating the systems that surround the presidency to be mandatorily like restrictive in this way, it seems they are hell-bent on the reality that there will not be another president.
To simply call them agreements.
Where's my
Department
dog?
of State.
Oh, there he is.
The priority for statecraft is advancing the U.S. Indian role as a cornerstone of the Quad, a cooperative framework including
Okay,
the US,
now they're actually
India,
using the word
Japan,
statecraft.
and Australia.
Yep, this shit's real.
The Quad is comprised of the key nations in coordinating.
I
efforts
cannot
for free
remember
and open
who.
Indo-Pacific.
Oh, it was
is
something
an
online.
overarching group
It
that
was
nets the key
it was
US
someone who
bilateral and
went into the
trilateral cooperative efforts
I
that
hate to be so
facilitate US
gossipy, but
collaborative efforts
it was someone who
across the
came into the
Indo-Pacific.
solar punk
The State
subreddit,
Department
which I
should also
fuck around with
encourage
solar
the
punk a
Quad
lot,
Plus
right?
concept that allows
Oh,
other
I got a
regional
fish, cool.
powers to
It was someone in the
participate
solar
in
punk
Quad
subreddit
coordination and issues of
who came
mutual
in
interest.
and was like, hey,
Further, the
it was
State
a
Department
scam,
must support
right?
an
It was someone
integrated
like
federal
talking
effort to
about
deliver a revamped
consulting
regional
for
strategy for South Asia, as well as
who the
leading
fuck
the
knows,
execution
some
of
sort of
key tasks
consulting
to
business,
implement
right?
the
And it was a
strategy
little bit of
2015.
AI here, a little bit of this and that there, a
The
little bit of,
Arctic.
you know, it's just it was
Because
super
of
sketchy.
Alaska, the
And so
US
I
is
went to
an
the person's
Arctic nation.
website and I looked up this person's
The Arctic
background.
is a vast expanse
And they were
offering
like, yeah,
sea-rich
I'm
in resources,
a,
including fish, minerals,
you know,
and energy.
I was a service member
For
in the
example,
United
the
States,
region is
and
estimated
I
to
worked in
contain 90 million barrels of
telecommunications
oil and
and
1/4 of the
retail,
world's undiscovered natural
and
gas reserves.
I have a
2016,
degree
the
in
Arctic is lightly
Christian,
populated.
I'm sorry,
Only
not
4
Christian,
million people in the world live above the
Catholic
Arctic Circle,
statecraft.
with more than half Oftos living in Russia.
Catholic
Only around
statecraft.
68,000 people in Alaska live
Which
above
this
the
document
Arctic
just
Circle.
said the word
17,
statecraft.
however.
When you hear
The sheer
statecraft, you should
immensity
think
of
of
the Alaskan
one
Arctic
thing
means
and
its
one thing
population
only,
density is
and it's
less
the
than one
concept
person
of
per square mile,
colonialism.
0.18
Like the
acres.
concept. Because that's what
The United
statecraft is.
States has several
It is the
strong interests
process
in the Arctic
of
region.
establishing a state.
rate of
And
melting ice during
oftentimes,
summer
like this
months
person I
has led
saw on the
to
solar
increased
punk
interest not
subreddit
only
once,
from
it
shipping
has a
and
tie
tourism
to
sectors,
some
but
semblance
also from
of
America's
religious
global competitors
statecraft,
who are
creating a
interested in
state
exploiting
through the
region's
use of an
strategic
exclusive
importance
religion.
and accessing its bounty of natural
The fact that
resources.
this document said that
In the
shit
not-too-distant future,
tells you
there
everything.
will be a
Like,
growing
it's over.
interest in the Arctic
Like
from
they
both
said
state and
statecraft. They said the
non-state
thing,
actors
the
alike.
thing, where like you
China
violently
has
come
been
into a
open about
place,
its interest in the
take
region,
over their land,
primarily as a
establish a
highway for
government that
trade,
you
but also for
control,
its rich natural
and you've
resources,
crafted a
while the
state
PRC's
in like
increasing intervention in
the most
Arctic affairs
Marxist
is a
way.
bit
It's
strange
crazy
because
that
it
they're
does
like,
not
we
have an
hate
Arctic
Marxism, but then they say
Russia
shit.
does, and Russia
That
has made no
Marxism is
secret
like,
of its view that the Arctic
hey,
is
you guys are
vital
like
for economic and
aggressively,
military
violently forming a
reasons.
state. And they're like, oh,
Russia
fuck
has
it, it's just called
invested
statecraft, don't
heavily
worry
in
about
new
it.
and refurbished Arctic
What?
bases and cold weather equipment and
Jesus.
capabilities.
Like, I don't even know that much
The
about
North
Marxism.
Star
I
of
just
US
know that one of the
Arctic
things is
policy
like
should
the
remain
state,
national
or the concept of it,
sovereignty,
is like
safeguarded through robust
a violent thing
capabilities
that
as well
oppresses
as through
people.
diplomatic, economic,
And statecraft
political
is the
agenda.
antithesis of that. It's the very
The
thing that
next
that system is
administration
critical
should
of.
embrace the view that NATO must acknowledge that it is, in part, an
Crazy.
Arctic alliance.
Crazy that they just say that.
With the likely accession of political leaders should avoid manipulation by appointment, a practice by which intelligence leaders are selected for their policy views
You know
or
what? I'm
political
gonna
loyalties
do it.
instead
I'm
of
gonna
their skilled
change the
expertise.
voice, and it's gonna probably cause me like significant mental anguish. How about Eric? What does Eric sound like?
Expertise. Point 24 Presidents should also avoid public rebukes and pressure from the intelligence profession, which can
I don't like
include
it.
intimidation and
I've been
bullying
listening to the
or
same guy the whole
shit-icing
time, and now it sounds
analysis.
weird.
This will be easier if leaders live by the norms of neutrality and thus are not seen as political actors.
This is a little too
for whom
soothing.
political
It's
responses
getting
are
late
deemed
for me,
necessary.
and this is too soothing. I need
Intelligence
something
leaders
that's
and professionals should never
gonna keep
cook
me
the
focused and
books for
awake.
presidents or change or shape their
How about
analysis.
Roger?
Analysis to preserve access. Or
Oh, Roger
status
sounds annoying. I'm going with Roger.
Foreign intelligence surveillance
Roger gives me
future
weird
president
vibes.
Should understand the importance of FISA 26
Okay.
while also seeking reform.
Roger has like
and
an interesting
accountability for
tone.
any abuses
Eric
of
was kind of
authority.
smooth, but he was a little too
When
calming, and
discussing
it's getting
FISA
late, and I don't want to get
and what
sleepy.
changes may need to be made,
This guy, this Roger guy, kind of sounds a little like Ben Shapiro E, little Jordan Peterson E, just enough to keep me annoyed and listening.
702 of FISA, independent agencies. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence.
I have a single eye of enter. I need one more. And then I will go.
CIA,
I will hit the road
of Defense Elements,
and
the
start
National
looking for stuff.
Security Agency of leadership, even in an
Back to
active
it. This is
capacity,
going for 11
while a
plus
new
hours.
seal
Yes, it
awaits
has.
Senate
Split twig. It has been
confirmation
going
necessary to prevent a
for 12 hours. I said that I don't get to stop playing
The USM receives its budget
until I beat the game.
directly from Congress.
They want, dude, like they talk about liberals and leftists defunding shit, and they're like, we want to defund Elmo. The fuck is wrong? You will go defund something else, you cocksuckers. But Split Twig mentioned save their bacon. This bill, you read it, and I've been hearing it read aloud by a fucking voice to text to speech for hours now. They use some of the oldest language. It feels like I'm talking to somebody's 50 or 60-year-old aunt who's crazy, or their uncle who's just fucking crazy, and they're using the weirdest old head language I've ever heard in their professional writing. It is so weird to hear, and it's so indicative of the age group of the people that contributed to this. They're ancient. I have as much food as I possibly can. I have no good way of getting back to my house here, so I'm essentially abandoning it. I would think the reasonable thing to do would be to break my nether portal and take extra obsidian with me, so that way I can rebuild one. So I might do that first. And then I think it's time to stop stream and then restart stream. Yep, we are at 11 hours and 56 minutes. I'm going to stop stream for 5 minutes and then start it back up, and probably go till 1 or 2 a.m. my time, which is 2 more hours, and see if I can beat the game in that time. And if I can't, then I will do another stream where I finish Minecraft and get more through this stupid Project 2025 document, because it actually is 900 pages. So I'm going to sign off momentarily, and I will be back on in 5 minutes. All right, back to it. 2 more hours. We'll see. I don't know. If I'm like in the end realm at 2 hours, I'm just going to push till 3 and beat the damn dragon. Okay. They want to remove DEI, and they want to cease promotion of the DEI agenda, including the bullying LGBTQ plus agenda. I'm gonna bully you. Conservatives, be scared. I'm the fucking bully now. I'm gonna bully. Get fucking ready. I'm scary. You can't even handle me. You're gonna piss yourself, little piss boy fucking Republicans. I'm the bully now. You better run. Your lunch money, give me it. I'm gonna use it to reassign your children's gender. Give me your lunch money so I can give your kids abortions. Holy shit. These guys are insane. Refocusing gender equality on women, children, and families. Hey, what if like gender equality was already pro-women, pro-children, and pro-families? Because it's an equality. It's a tenet of equality. Hey, so like what if that was always how that worked and you guys are just fucking weird? So yeah, they hate the idea of abortion access being considered reproductive health care, which is incomprehensibly not just wrong. Like that's just factually wrong. Like abortion, the medical procedure, the circumstance of terminating a pregnancy is a medical procedure that is sometimes needed in cases where a mother's life is literally at risk and a fetus is already non-viable. It is by definition healthcare. And you will understand that other countries, especially countries, African countries, Asian countries, have birth outcomes for stillborns and risks to the lives of the mothers that are really bad. And thereby, that sort of thing is relevant. Okay, families are the basic unit and foundation of a thriving culture. Without women, there are no children. That's great. Women are wonderful. I love them deeply. Just ask my woman partner. I certainly enjoy women. They're wonderful. Okay, what is this? But they're bothered by the concept of a woman not being strict enough. They're worried about their sexuality. They can't realize that women is a social construct because that could be gay. They can't risk it. They're too scared. I'm going to bully them. They're gay. I'm bullying them for being gay. That's it. That's what they're afraid of. They're in the closet. They're suppressed. The next conservative administration should rename the United States Assistance of International, something of International Development Office of Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, GUE, as the U Office of Gender of Women, Children, and Families. I just want to reinforce that women is a gender. So they're still using the word gender, even though they don't fucking like it. This is just all insane. Wait. And illuminate more than 180 gender advisors and points of contact embedded in missions and operating units. Jesus Christ. They want to use our systems of communication for propagandizing the American myth. And then they want to use our systems for international assistance in international places to propagandize the nuclear family, heteronormativity, and all these sorts of things. Gender normativity, heteronormativity. Why not, if you're going to do this stupid American propaganda, why not be a bastion of egalitarianism? That principle of all people being equal. Yes, we should go for gender. It says gender equality. Fuck yeah. Hell yeah. And then they start talking about the one. They finally talked about it. I mentioned cultural relativism earlier, and damn, did it fucking happen here. I'll get to it in a sec. I just want to keep reading through this shit and really take it in. It should also remove references to abortion, reproductive health, and sexual reproductive rights. Dude, what the fuck do you mean? You can't even mention the concept of like condoms? Like, are you insane? Like, you can't tell other countries about condoms? Like, in the past, the word gender was a polite alternative to the word sex. Actually, no. Wow, that one's like actually impressively wrong. Huh. Yeah, biological sex. Sex is still a word that we use. I use it in the classroom. I use it in biology specifically because sex is a genetic and physiological characteristic, whereas gender is a social construct that people use. Like, you'll notice on government documents, oftentimes the word that is used is not gender, it is sex. And it's usually MF or X, which usually can mean an intersex person. Biological sex and sex are medical terms. They are physiological terms, they are genetic terms, they are anatomical terms. Gender is a social term, a constructed social term. And the idea that they are positing that those words are being used that way is very stupid, because biologists, including fucking Darwin, use the word sex to determine the physiology, anatomy, and even the anatomy and physiology of the gonads and haploid sex stuff. Sex is a spectrum. That's why intersex, for example, exists. I remember teaching my students about that. Because one of the things I would first do is be like, I wouldn't talk about gender, but I'd be like, what does the word gender mean? What does the word sex mean? And then we talk about what those are in different academic contexts and what word we would be using in the classroom as biologists. And that word was usually sex. But then I would ask them, I would say, how many human sexes are there? How many genetic sexes are there? But I'd be like, no. There's all kinds of unusual, what is the typical word? Ooh, what is it? Something zygy. The process by the state in which a human can have a less common combination of sex chromosomes or number of sex chromosomes. So it could be a type of somatic or sex cell disorder where you have an unusual number of sex chromosomes, or even, for example, with certain things, I forget some of these names because I haven't taught this in years, but there are even cases where you have completely common and statistically common organization of sex chromosomes like the XX or XY, male or female, as we understand it, but one of your chromosomes is being regulated fuckedly and your physiology comes out intersex. Or maybe you are XXY, which should be some semblance of intersex based on genetics, but your physiology due to regulation is completely male or completely female. So even genetic sex is a fucking spectrum. That would blow the fucking mind of any goddamn conservative. They would lose their shit. They couldn't even comprehend the idea of a chromosome. Let me see if I can remember the one. What is the XXY? I'm gonna have to use the word disease because that's how it's used typically. Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome is a common condition that results when a person assigned male at birth has an extra copy of the X chromosome. So genetically, that person is not what you would call male. You would say that genetically that person is intersex, but physiologically that person oftentimes presents entirely as male. But they were assigned as male at birth. But if I remember correctly, there are hormonal effects and even, I believe, gonad physiology that makes the person something that would be considered intersex. Fascinating, hugely fucking fascinating shit. I love that shit because it's just something you're not taught about. And it's something I actually have a background in hearing about because I taught biology. And I love having those conversations. I had parents that wanted to fucking murder me because I had those conversations. I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you can't just unexist the concept of Klinefelter syndrome. It exists. Get over it. Pull your head out of your ass. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Shit is the way it is. I'm pretty sure there's even crazier variants where you can have like 2 Ys or you could have like 4 X's or something, and they'll be regulated all unusually. And there are even mutations that don't involve the sex chromosomes but do somehow affect the regulation of sex chromosomes that affect a person's genetic sex. So like, one, what are we answering in this fun little side conversation? I just love the study of this sort of stuff personally. Like, it's just so fucking interesting to me. I just genuinely love it. What are we learning? Why does the word gender exist? Precisely because even genetic sex is not perfectly predictable. It is not. The universe is more complicated than that. So why does the word gender need to exist? Because you can't even rely on genetic sex to begin with, even in humans, because there are so many. I believe it's called aneuploidy. Did I just remember the word? Aneuploidy? Oh, I went to college. Aneuploidy is a genetic disorder that occurs when a cellular organism has an unusual number of chromosomes. Aneuploidy. There are all kinds of sexual aneuploidies in humans. Sex itself, physiologically and genetically, is a spectrum. Consequently, gender, of course, reflects that. And why does the word gender need to exist, and why is it separate from the word sex? It's because sex itself isn't even that reliable. While it is quantifiable, gender is not, as a consequence of the spectrum that is sex itself too. Why in the goddamn name of anything would we not want to share this fascinating fucking science with other countries? Why the fuck would we hide that? Why, like, what is the benefit of hiding that other than purity, right? Everything in this document goes back to the concept of purity. I believe it's racial purity. I believe it is cultural purity. I believe it is geographic purity. I believe it is economic purity. I believe it is state power purity. The pure crystallization of state power and conservatism, just perfectly crystallized and into its most perfect form to these damn near Nazis. Sorry, I'm so cooked. I'm absolutely crashed out for 1 in the fucking morning. The general welfare. Oh, that would be it. Oh, that'll be a fun thing in the morning tomorrow. That's gonna suck. Oh, I haven't even started again. I don't want to do it. This sucks. Okay, I remember. Dude, I can't believe it. I'm gonna have like so much encyclopedic knowledge on this one stupid thing. I'm getting themes out of this. I'm making spark notes in my head. It's like this is like for class or something. The big first theme is purity, like puritanical something, right? It's moral purity, it's race, it's definitely race purity, it's cultural purity, it's economic purity. There's this big undertone of like, keep America pure, right? So I think that slogan, make America great again, I definitely think that means like make America pure again, because everything, every policy, every disposition, every perspective in this document is rooted in some idea of making things pure and exclusive to one group, the conservative group, the family. The last thing I was on was the section for the Agency for International Development, which is essentially like the wing of the president's humanitarian aid cabinet. So that's the people who support other countries. And I'm certain they actually do to a significant degree, but oh my God, it's all just ways in which we need to make sure that we bring Christianity to other countries. Like it's bad. And before that, the previous section, I believe, was about all of the United States propaganda arm, its communications systems with other countries, which I didn't even know existed. There's like all these television and radio things that the US pays for, not like NPR, which is a domestic federally funded public radio system. It's these communication systems that go to other countries and cannot be shown to people domestically in the US. And the entire document was just bitching about how they weren't American exceptionalists enough. It was terrible. I've learned so fucking much, and I hate this document. We're on page 277. Let's fucking ball.
Deficit problem is a Medicare and Medicaid
Yep,
problem.
this is going to be nothing. Yep,
HHS is also
just
home to the
fuck.
Centers
The
for
craziest
Disease
thing,
Control and
right, is that the
Prevention,
age of
CDC,
conservatives versus, I guess the other word would be a liberal, right? The right versus the left is what I prefer to say, even though I don't even like that terminology. But to be truly as many broad as possible, the average age of these groups, right? The people who need Medicare and Medicaid are aging populations. And hilariously, their entire, like, party fucking just wants them to die. I don't know. I just feel like that's... Some people would say that's natural selection, I guess, right? Like, just... You are so antisocial that you don't like the idea of other people getting medical care that it ends up fucking you over too. That's what's going on. But what they're going to do is they're going to say that the poor response to COVID is evidence that these offices are terribly corrupt and they need to be disbanded, and they're going to like slide in, we should also just get rid of all public support for healthcare also while we're at it. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to slide that in while they're doing it. It's their Trojan horse. Did they just say education cartel? What the fuck? Oh, I'm going to lose it. In contrast to DOJ's long history, the Department of Education, the Department, or ED, discussed by Lindsey Burke in Chapter 11, is a creation of the Jimmy Carter administration. The Department of Education, yeah, it kind of fucking had to be made. The department is a convenient one-stop shop for the woke education cartel. Bro, I'm a gang member. It's over. Conservatives are afraid of me. I keep it strapped. All right? I'm on this shit. I represent. I got gang signs. I'm the education cartel. As COVID era showed, it's not particularly concerned with children's education. What the fuck do you mean? The Department of Education was freaking the fuck out on how to get kids back to school as soon as possible. They were freaking the fuck out about it, and they were really bothered because COVID threw everything off. They just weren't ready for it. There's a conversation for whether or not a federal education system, I mean, sure, maybe like a federal education system for developing policy and legislation is one thing, but federal education funding I'm actually generally not too keen on, because I think education should be funded directly by the communities that benefit from that education, not using property tax and instead using a broad income tax. Federal intrusion into a traditionally state and local realm. Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I generally do kind of see that. But there was no way to help push education forward in terms of funding, especially for post-secondary, other than to have a Department of Education. Not to mention the Department of Education oversees, because it's the federal bureau and makes the federal laws, the Department of Education oversees all the really important special education stuff. Talking about disabilities, accessibility, diverse needs, cognitive, physical, health, whatever, getting the rights of those people that are affected, those that are disabled, getting their rights assured, guaranteed, and put into paper. That was the Department of Education. Hugely important. That's like the IDEA Act. Let me double check. Did the Department of Ed make the IDEA Act? Enacted by Congress, periodically issued or revised regulations. Yeah, so IDEA is the Individuals with Disability Education Act. It's so incomprehensible how fucking stupid conservatives are, because they do not comprehend the extent to which the education department depends on the existence of that specific act, the IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. I mean, without that act, if your kid is in a wheelchair and the school doesn't want to make a ramp, they just tell you to fuck off. Like, just wait. When it's one of these a random conservative person or a conservative person in power whose family gets directly fucked over because essentially ADA and IDEA in education doesn't exist anymore because you got rid of the fucking Department of Education, you dipshits. You're going to completely fuck yourself over. And look at this shit. This is going crazy too. Short of this, the Secretary of Education should insist that the department serves parents and American ideals, not advocates whose message is that children can choose their own sex, that America is systemically racist, that math itself is racist, and that Martin Luther King Jr.'s ideals of a colorblind society should be rejected in favor of reinstating a color-conscious society. These fucking people love decontextualizing Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was like a noticeably socialist, populist-leaning person who talked like towards the end of his life before, you know, the shit that fucking happened. And we all can talk about that. It's not even conspiratorial. I mean, the FBI tried to make Martin Luther King kill himself. There's like a letter they sent to him to like scare him into killing himself. That happened. That was the US. That is the United States legacy. And these people are fucking it. But no, they've gone on and on about this concept of colorblindness. And they don't seem to put together that, one, the extent to which Martin Luther King did defend what would now be interpreted as a modern understanding of colorblindness. That was Martin Luther King trying to keep Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers from fucking killing everyone because they totally had a right to. Like, that was him being like, oh shit, I need to titrate and piggyback off of the Black Panther movement because our people have been getting fucking murdered forever, and these guys are actually going to go to war over it. We need to find something that I can get to these fucking racist white people that I can slide in that will make them not feel bad about the fact that they hurt our people for so fucking long. So, one, Martin Luther King Jr., towards the end of his life, is quoted many times talking about how wealth disparity, class struggle, wealth disparity, and workers' pay and workers' rights. He started talking about that shit intently, and they just so happened to get killed right after he started getting into that. He's even quoted towards the end of his life saying that he didn't do enough, that he wanted to go further, but he had to make compromises. He was the king of compromise, of getting civil rights assured through compromise, through nonviolent intervention, through nonviolent protest, and then using the framing of Huey P. Newton, of the Black Panthers, to actually make that look. I thought this was a Minecraft stream. Doom guy.
Such as food stamps.
Oh, they want to get rid of food stamps. That's not surprising at all. I hate it when they actually say it. Hurts my feelings. Must did a Nazi salute? God damn it. I love how timely this video idea is. By the way, I didn't really intend it like that. Musk Nazi salute. There's no fucking way. I wonder if this is just a... Give me the video of this shit. Is this just a certified autism moment, or is this just dead ass? Oh, no, man. I just saw him fucking do it. Oh, shit. Did you do it more than once? Yeah, I did it. I don't know, man. That could have been a social lack of brain. That could have been like a Freudian physiological slip type of shit. Or that could have been a dead ass dog whistle. That's up in the air. Uh-oh. I'm gonna say it's up in the air. But goddamn. This is hard. This video game's hard. Okay, I said your colleague letter. I definitely have been paying too much attention to that consistently. It's been hard. One Ender Pearl. Let's go. I need 20 more. Good God. God, the drop rate isn't even good enough. Not even close. The Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, the OSERS, should prepare a digest of the best research on the subject and share it directly with state superintendents and state special education leaders across the country who have been led by this regulation to believe a false problem diagnosis. Every effort should be made to dissuade states from continuing to operate on the assumption that overrepresentation requires state intervention after federal pressure is rescinded. I'm sorry, what? In May of 2022, the Department of Agriculture, the USDA, tried to advance a Reddit. How are we on to USDA again? Agenda, federal school meal program. Really essentially their school meal program. Wait. No, they said some crazy shit about students with special needs a second ago. Students should never be denied access to special education services because of their race or ethnicity. Well, obviously. But this is happening in school districts across the country thanks to abominations to equity and IDEA regulation. These people still don't comprehend the idea that lifting one group up does not need to mean pushing the other down, even in a world of limited resources. Like, that's not how that works. No, what we're likely seeing is higher representation of students of color in special education. Not like kicking white kids out. I got identified. It wasn't even that hard. They're like, he has ADHD. And I was like, okay. It wasn't that hard. What are you talking about? Maybe this is happening in some extremely specific cases. And I just don't know. I just don't think this is happening in that way. Like, this is not the intent of regulation, but it's an inevitable byproduct of its flawed assumptions. The Obama administration looked at the racial statistics on its bed and made two assumptions. African American students were disproportionately overrepresented, and this overrepresentation constituted a harm that required federal pressures to ameliorate. Well, yeah, one of the reasons that it seems African American students are represented are the comorbid effects of poverty. African American people are significantly more impoverished than white people in the United States because of fucking history. Poverty has extraordinary knockback and complicated effects, including circumstances that would present the greater likelihood of both genetic and environmental reasons for developmental delays, which consequently result in special education needs. But then there's also just like raw developmental delays as well. So yes, you saw African American students were being overrepresented, but it's also behaviorally. Poverty results in knock-on effects and comorbid circumstances in which behaviors represent differently because students are experiencing exacerbated circumstances as a consequence of poverty, less time with their parents. There are other circumstances and sociological effects that matter there. It's kind of the opposite of the conservative mindset. The conservative mindset is like, if your family situation is non-traditional, that's why you're bad. No, the reasonable perspective is that presents the opportunity for you to face unique challenges that might need unique circumstances of equity to address. But being fatherless doesn't mean you're guaranteed to be fucking ruined. You're just racist. But similarly, overrepresentation of African American students in special education programs can also be cultural. It can also be cultural. It can be taught. Outbursts, behaviors, emotiveness, the way that students manifest their developmental delays, the way that students that manifest non-traditional or misbehavior can be tied to culture. So, yeah, that is bad. And Obama was like, we should probably look at that. There was nothing unreasonable about that. Okay, school districts deemed to overrepresent minority students in special education assignment or in discipline amongst special education students are tagged by their state education agencies as engaging as significantly disproportionality and are required to reallocate money into intervention services that address the root cause of this disproportionality. That's actually not unreasonable at all. That's actually like very reasonable. God, like, I don't know, like, yeah, it's like the melting pot in the tossed salad. Yeah, America is going to be a place of many cultures. If a kid comes from a culture that somehow, and this would be hard to really assert, but you've got a culture that you can somehow say is objectively misogynist, and this is really a Gunduncan kind of thinking. This is this thought problem. This is not particularly identifiable. But let's say a kid comes from, they immigrate from another country in which culture is practiced of overwhelming misogyny. They get into the classroom and they're really fucking mean to the girls in the classroom. And it's pretty obvious that you can base it in that sort of thing. Okay, you would want to address the problem at the root. That is completely fucking reasonable. That's not a fault of the kid either. And that doesn't mean that person's culture has to be seen as objectively evil. You could, if you're a cultural relativist, which I'm not, you could say that it's just not appropriate for the context of that child's education, the place in which they are, where being mean to the girls without reason is not cool. You can address that culture has an influence on people's behavior, and you should. That's fine. That's like completely fine to acknowledge that might be what's paying in. And that doesn't mean changing the child or trying to erode their culture. I mean, I think if it were like misogyny, then yeah, I actually have no problem with eroding that culture. I'm not a cultural relativist. But let's say it's a more broad behavior. Let's say it's being particularly physical with how you communicate states of like elated, of high states of being emotional. One, there is a stereotype going back in American history of being like the black hysteric, like female hysteria, black hysteria. That's a thing. So one, that culture's tying in, and that's probably what this is trying to address to some extent. So that is encouraging some people to identify children of color as being sped when they otherwise might not have been, which white people are doing white displacement theory, replacement theory, where they're like, ooh, the black kids are getting identified, so our white kids aren't getting identified. Ooh, they're being fucking crazy. It's such a complicated situation because, ironically, to some extent, some of the reason the black kids are being identified is precisely because the people identifying them are racist as shit, and they have old cultural ties to black hysteria, and they think I identify it as sped. So one, racism is actually taking away from their white kids. Funny. Two, it's probably this racist black hysteria bullshit. It's probably actual culture. It's probably the knock-on effects of poverty. This is not unreasonable to try to address. This isn't even like woke. This isn't even what they think woke is. So yeah, they want to kill the concept of equity. False problem diagnosis.
President Biden revoked these executive orders on January 20th, 2021.
Oh, I see a brick.
These executive orders effectively restrained the abuses of an
Yay! I'm in the place. Yay!
APA notice and comment. The president should issue
Hey, I'm in the place now. Wonderful. Let's make it easy to get down, preferably.
Administrative Procedures Act. Notice and comment.lp.
The government cannot stop me. The mental hospital cannot stop me. I will simply continue playing Minecraft until I beat it. And I will listen to Project 2025 the entire time. I am losing it. And I had technical difficulties last time, and I persevered. We are reading Project 2025 using Microsoft Word. I have brought it into Microsoft Word. I've brought it in to Microsoft Word. Okay, we're going to figure this out. I brought it in to Microsoft Word. And I made Microsoft Word convert this 900-page document into a Word file that it can now read aloud. Okay? And the voice it gave me was not particularly pleasant. But it doesn't matter. I have to get it done. And conveniently today, the section we are in is the most relevant one. The section is called the general welfare, and it's all about, well, literal welfare, but also everything involving actual social regulation, any social policy that affects people's daily lives. This is the section that really does it. The economic stuff is powerful. The introductory stuff talking about the power of the president is nothing but filled with subversions of existing systems, which may seem punk in one way, but the entire point is to centralize power into these guys as president, which is currently Donald Trump. Also, someone posted to me yesterday that video of Elon Musk doing a certain motion. Absolutely he did. I went back through that clip. I sat down with it. I thought about it. He absolutely did. There's zero discussion. I don't care. I don't care if it even ends up that he's just dumb and has poor social skills and bad social cognition and he just didn't think about that motion. If that is the case, that proves psychologically that he doesn't think about whether or not he does or does not look that way. So either he holds it so dearly in his mind that he is not radicalized in that direction and to that degree and for that topic, or he is literally a, what is the word? National socialist. There you go. Let's play Minecraft. I need to beat this game. I'm so sick of this. We are starting, because we essentially ended on this section last time. We are starting on the Department of Health and Human Services. They're going to make a bunch of absolutely terrible, garbage arguments. And we are going to cope with that reality. Okay, that was a problem last time. Sorry, the reading voice can go ridiculously fast. I'm going to do male just because I find the female voices are a bit more tinny and it kind of hurts my ears over time. Also, I want to talk about that first thing they cite. They said that the budget is like 1.5 trillion. Again, the military, during a peacetime, when we already have a military that is many, 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 many times larger than everyone else's combined, like the next 9 countries combined, our military is 890 billion right now. That's almost 1 trillion. During peacetime. Yeah, of course our fucking... For God's sake, it's the one example of things being reasonable. Yeah, our health and human services should be bigger than our military during peacetime. The fuck do you mean? Like, yes, that's reasonable. So again, they're talking about states being the regulators of... So it's all about federalism, anti-federalism, I don't know which direction it technically is, but it's about the Fed having less power and decentralizing it to states, which again, not even that against it, but the reason that the right goes for that so hard is because the division between blue states and red states is so profound that they want to be able to control what goes on in their states more aggressively. So they want to ban abortion, they want to be able to do all these things at the state level because their states are so intently red and they can guarantee power in those contexts. I don't know if they understand that, like, if they keep doing this too hard, states like Colorado, states like New York, states like, I imagine Vermont, I believe, Oregon, these states are just going to become like bastions of leftism to counteract their behaviors. What? Families of a mother, father that are married, right? They're back to this shit, the nuclear family, puritanical shit. Anything else doesn't matter. Like, it's so weird that they're just saying that aloud. Like, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. So, no one is subsidizing single motherhood. Oh my god. Oh, hey, now it's showing the highlight. Good. Oh my god. I don't know. I mean, obviously, these guys are just actual white supremacists. I don't know what to say. Like, their reasons likely for wanting to focus so hard on the traditional family unit is because it's a great means of social reproduction of the white nuclear family. I mean, let's be real, that's what's going on. That's their logic here. But like, if I'm charitable for 30 milliseconds, their logic is that the nuclear family is the best for the social reproduction of all generally moral and good families in their stupid minds. They're not going into the detail about the effects of fatherlessness would be the term I can think of, but they're not going in on it. The United States is currently a place that dual income is necessary to avoid poverty. Okay, so having both working parents is quintessential to not being in poverty. And it is poverty that predisposes people to these negative things that they consider the dissolution of American culture and the downfall of the family or whatever. You know, whatever they consider like moral degradation or whatever, moral decay. It's actually poverty. The thing that they incentivize and produce through their obsession with competition and their hatred for the concept of equity, which equity manifests regularly as reevaluating the poor distribution of wealth in our country. So no, they're bitching about moral decay, which I would just describe as what they're interpreting, what they're misinterpreting. What is actually happening is the effects of poverty on people. Yes, poverty has many negative, confounding effects on a person and their life outcomes. Who knew? We've known for fucking ever. They genuinely fear the reality that, like, people are going to have mixed families. If there's a large population of people of color in the country, they're going to have kids. That means not everyone's going to be white. People will be more mixed over time. They're so scared of that reality, which is likely where the United States is heading. I don't remember what the number is, but, you know, sometime in my lifetime, likely, white people will be a minority compared to mixed people of either black or a combination of black or Latin American ethnicity or race, or however you want to define it. Being psychotic about how you define a family and hating the concept of fatherlessness is not the solution. You should fight poverty, because poverty is the thing that produces these things. When I say fight poverty, I mean actually ameliorate systems of inequity that produce such significant poverty in the wealthiest country in the history of the world in the first place. Okay, I did not get a single Enderman in this round, and I'm pissed. No, there is absolutely, like, I have no issue saying this, there is absolutely cahoots going on involving insurers and medical tech and developer companies. So that includes vaccine development companies, all of these biotech companies, every single one of them. Wow, great. I have a single carrot. I'm gonna die.
All such research should be prohibited as a matter of law and policy.
Again, these people don't seem to understand that, like, a zygote with 100,000 cells is very different from a human with consciousness. Again, I'm not going to get too far into arguments for or against abortion. I feel like the thing I'll say is that when we talk about the concept of a human life, we're talking about a human consciousness, and fetal cells before a general time do not represent consciousness, right? The house is built, the lights are on, but no one's home. It's not a person. The way I usually talk about it to other people from a medical perspective is, do you remember, right? Like, what is pain? What is suffering? What is loss of life? Well, we understand those concepts, and especially Christians understand those concepts because the person dies. Their living stage of life ends, and in the Christian mindset, they go to their afterlife. Now, I don't believe in an afterlife. I think it's eternal dark abyss. But considering that that's their logic, they think that death is negative because you're no longer on earth, and that's a change that is not good, and so death is bad. And it's bad especially to them because they believe in the afterlife they will remember that they once were living with their loved ones on earth, experiencing life as a human that is mortal. That is their logic for death being poor. That is the Judeo-Christian perspective. On Abrahamic religious perspective, that is an afterlife believing perspective on why death bad, right? The logical crux is that death is bad because you remember dying. You had consciousness as you died. You had consciousness throughout life to know that it is valuable. And consciousness creates the perspective of loss in the first place. The thing they don't seem to get is that a fetus, beyond a certain point, is not conscious. There can be no harm. There can be no memory of harm. There can be no memory of pain. That there is nothing to remember. Listen, it's absolutely insane. They care more about bundles of human cells. They are human cells, absolutely. Like, they are Homo sapiens sapiens, human cells, absolutely. But what makes a person? What is personhood? Right? There is no consciousness. So it's a completely different thing. But they care more about that than they do about living real people. Especially if a living real person is not part of a mother-father nuclear family. Like, if you're not that, you don't matter. That's just their logic. There's not much I can do about it. That's them. Or, oh, they want to deregulate government-subsidized relationships with Big Pharma. Which, again, I don't like Big Pharma either. I don't like government having a relationship with Big Pharma. But their logic is that if they deregulate that, they'll be able to privatize healthcare harder, which in their mind will produce better outcomes for them and their families. Obviously, I don't think that. I think healthcare is absolutely something that should be socialized as much as possible. Actually, I should have been paying attention to that this whole time I was reading this. How many times do they just fucking cite shit without a citation? Is it because they can't like pull up NCBI and trust that they'll actually get any of the data they want? Dude, they're gonna be so cooked when we start engineering our own abortion drugs at home. Like, these fuckers don't understand. They're obsessed with like innovators and upstarts, but they don't seem to understand that people that want autonomy over their body, biohackers, including trans people, women, anyone who's interested in, you know, being a human with control over their body, they don't seem to understand that people will put in fucking work to make this happen. I don't understand what kind of weird implicit shit they're getting at with their obsession with absent fathers. I understand that there might be actual sociological data showing that, like, it's not good for family or child or life outcomes, but it's interesting that they're doing this presupposition that, like, one, they're definitely talking about black families, obviously. You'd have to be an idiot to ignore that. That's definitely what's going on. But two, it's almost like they have this presupposition that like father absenteeism is a it's almost like a cultural mandate. Like, they think, well, that should... Here's what I think their logic is. I think the logic is, well, black people are just bad and they don't raise their kids. And conservative Christian white people don't do that. We're better. Which is hilarious because the 1950s was wrought with conservative white men having like 3 families. And just like abandoning their kids all the time. That like was not uncommon. This is, yeah, they make this sort of presupposition that like, ooh, this is a cultural issue, ooh, we'll never fix it, ooh, whatever. They don't talk about, well, how could we deal with father absenteeism? What are the circumstances that produce that sort of outcome sociologically? And I'm almost certain poverty's got to be fucking one of them. But they don't want to address poverty. That's just unthinkable to these guys. They think poverty is something that you have to deal with yourself. Again, are they not talking about the concept of dual income? We live in America where dual income is absolutely required. So yes, intact marriages will likely have better outcomes for children because they're not as impoverished. And also, I'd love to see the data on homosexual intact marriages and how successful they are. Okay, why would the average length of a same-sex marriage be supposedly half that of a heterosexual marriage? I guarantee, seeing as there's no fucking citation, that they didn't put shit into that. But let's say that for some fucking reason that's exactly true perfectly, and there's no more nuance than that. Maybe that's because being same-sex is extremely traumatic, and trauma is an indicator for negative relationship outcomes. Oh, I didn't know that. Jesus. Again, this is... The concept of like generational trauma cannot exist to these people.
That discourage work, marriage, and meaningful paths to
there are not policies that discourage work. Oh my god. Everyone is broke. What the fuck are you talking about? These guys are so crazy. They're talking about people marrying less. Yeah, they're worried about it. Where? They're worried about the fact that these programs are income based, so it's harder to access if you're married, which discourages, I don't know. There's a lot of like creepy cultural reproduction, pro-marriage, pro-physiological reproduction, pro-child rearing, pregnancy shit throughout this document. It's like really creepy. Like, I don't know what to say. Antinatalists are a little wild too in their own way, with the kind of the negativity and the doomerism of antinatalism. But oh my god, they're almost less weird insofar as they don't tell other people what to do. They just personally make a choice and are okay with it. Whereas people obsessed with natalism will put it onto you. It was crazy. So seeing inclusions of that sort of things in this conservative rhetoric is not surprising at all. God. You know, I also wanted to think, for example, as like a thought problem, who is the perfect person for this document, right? Because this document fucks over a lot of people, including people in the conservative movement. It will fuck over women that don't want to be trad wives, or physiologically are not able to be trad wives, or it fucks over women that can't have traditional pregnancies, nuclear pregnancies. It fucks over old conservatives. It fucks over old conservatives insofar as it fucks up their healthcare. It fucks over retirees and old people. So you've just taken out pretty much everyone above the age of 60. You've taken out entire swaths of women that don't want to be or physiologically can't be trad wives. You're fucking over college students. So like the only person, by their own arguments and their own excisions and exclusion, the only person that can read this document and never feel threatened is going to be a straight white man that wants to raise a family who is Christian in his 20s. That comes from wealth, because it can't be pre-existingly impoverished, because half of this document talks about ways in which they refuse to address the underlying issue of poverty, and instead they want to just make it everyone else's problem. So the only person who gets out of this document safe is the straight white man that already came from money. That's it. Everyone else comes out worse for this document. The only one who makes it out alive, who makes it out unaffected, is a straight white man that is Christian, that already comes from money, and wants to raise a nuclear family. This is the only person who doesn't get harmed by this, and I would argue that still there are ways in which that person will be harmed just by virtue of how stupid these guys' policies are. I literally only need one, maybe two more ender pearls, and then I can go to the end. And I mostly have everything I think I need to beat the dragon already. So we'll see if I survive. I can't believe it took me getting to over 500 pages before getting close to beating the game, though. I cannot believe how much I actually suck dick at Minecraft. And I've played Minecraft a lot. I just haven't played it a lot alone. I almost always make a server with friends.
So too are those owned separately by American Indian tribes and individual American Indians, both of which have been injured by Biden's illegal actions. The federal government owns 61% of the...
Oh, that is a complicated intersection. The fact that there are Native American lands that have uranium, but also fossil fuel reserves, and they could provide economic well-being to Native American states, Native American nations, rather. But I don't know. It's complicated. Most of the Native American advocacy I see is very much along the lines of, I know that one in particular. It's a uranium refinery, uranium plutonium, one of those radioactive. It's in a mountain. The Native American people oversee that land. And all that's going to happen is it's just going to give their children cancer for generations. And they know damn well, so they fight against it. That's the kind of stuff I see from Native Americans regarding mineral sustainability and environmental sustainability. It's generally positive. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to go get my bed, I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to save.
These animals
just to quintuple and triple be certain that everything's going to be okay. Because I don't want to fuck this up. This first suicide run, I'm going to do like 4 suicide runs. I'm going to get really comfortable with the fight is like and stuff like that.
This number includes the more than 47,000
and I'm going to have to play while it reads. Okay, and I'm actually going to close off this just so nothing can suddenly drop down and kill me. Okay, put bed there, go to sleep. Cool, that's one save. Okay, I'm gonna run away for a second in real life, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna fucking do it, but I can still hear because I'm wearing wireless headphones. Alright. Alright. I'm gonna fucking do it. I cannot be stopped. I'm jumping into that fucking end portal. I just realized I should probably take a pickaxe because I'll need it to get around. I just remembered that. I'm taking my diamond pickaxe, I guess. Uh-oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Wait, do I have any wood down here? There's wood in the, I'm just gonna make a shitty one real quick. There's wood in the library, and I can go steal some. I think all I can do is fucking go for it and ball. I really hate the audio in the background. I want this to be dramatic and cool and awesome. But no, I have to keep reading while I beat it. Fuck it, let's go. Ooh! 3, 2, 1 ball. Right. Yep, that sort of thing was gonna happen. And oh, I already fucked up. I'm an idiot. It didn't put me near stuff that I can mine. Oh, never mind, I can catch these. Cool. I might just barely be able to make my way over now. Good. Okay, well this gives me a basic ability to kind of go through. Okay. Wow, I hear the dragon. That's not good. What, is it already coming after me? I haven't even gone anywhere yet, bro. Leave me alone. God, it's loud and scary. Hello, NT worshipper. We're about to see the end dragon for the first time in this playthrough. Across BLM managed lands, pursuant to the Secretary's authority under the ANILCA and based on the final environmental impact statement on Alright, that's up top. This will permit construction of a new 211-mile. Alright, we're looking down, we're running. I need to find its pillar tower things. And open the area only to mining related industrial uses. Yeah, okay, there's one of the pillar things. Cool. We're running. We're running. Where's the dragon? It's up there. Cool. We're doing this. Throughout Alaska's history, the federal government what we're going to do is make water generators all over. This is especially the case when it and consistent with its authority along with other federal agencies, DOI's Bureau of Reclamation must take the following actions. Agents with monitoring social media and flagging. Now, if it's doing that, it's got to clearly be getting power from it. Though I don't see its health going up right now. To deprive anyone of any rights for platforms to remove point 10. The FBI engaged in a domestic influence operation to Is it healing? I don't see it doing the healing thing. More foreign influence than the FBI was actually seeing and stop the dissemination of and censor true information directly related to the 2020 presidential election. Point 11. God, I'm bad at this. Has devoted unprecedented resources to prosecuting. Turn around again. Damn. Yeah, this is not happening. I'm not good at this. Oh, come on, tell me that didn't hit. Fuck it, I'm getting up there then. It's my only option. I don't have a lot of arrows left, and I can't waste them. Protracted litigation and federal sanctions to chill disfavored behavior such as with state efforts to restrict abortion 14 or prevent genital mutilation of children. Oh shoot, let's see if the water caught me. It did. My idea worked. Regarding their efforts
to enhance election integrity. Point 16.
Come on.
L, the department
Suddenly I'm not good at this at all.
stop the flood of fentanyl and other deadly drugs that are flowing across
You
our
asshole,
borders,
let me up there.
decimating
Oh,
families and
it hurt itself somehow.
across the United States. Point 17. L, the department has abdicated
No,
its
this is not working.
responsibility to a high priority on reforming the DOJ and its
No, I'm just not getting it. I'm not good with this sort of thing.
and advance the national interest. Critically, this must include the FBI.
No, this is hard. It's way slower than I think it'll be.
Significant portions of the American people and harm the very fabric that holds together our constitutional republic. At a practical level, not reforming the Department of Justice.
I need way more arrows. That's so bad for me. Unironically. I don't have nearly enough.
Successful reform will require
Dang it, does that mean I'm just gonna have to like stop and come back? And like once I have things figured oh, don't dip me like that, you asshole.
an effort to remedy the damage that has been done and advance the national interest. Additionally, some needed reforms will not be possible without
Okay, it's doing that thing, isn't it? Okay, cool. Let me get down here.
While it is true that
Oh no. That was my last chance there.
FBI or the Civil Rights Division will require more attention than others.
Got that.
From the department's political leadership,
So what, do I just have to keep waiting here and hoping that he'll come back?
protecting public safety and defending the rule of law. This chapter features prominently the
What is my chances then
to restore its
of
focus
hitting this
on
thing?
functions. Of course, there are other important reforms that do not
Well, it aggroed another one on me. Oh, an arrow? Can I take that back? Cool. I can take missed arrows back. That's huge. I should have been doing that the whole time and reusing them.
prioritizing the protection of public safety.
I mean, I already knew that I can take arrows back, but I clearly forgot.
Security is at risk when our citizens lack physical safety, when career criminals do not fear the law, when foreign cartels move narcotics and illegal aliens into our nation,
Damn.
and when political leaders call citizens domestic terrorists for exercising their constitutional rights.
Okay, I'm gonna hit a golden apple the second that I see it come down again.
State and local partners must
The issue is I don't know if I'll ever have enough arrows to finish this.
protecting public safety. The overwhelming majority of crimes in the United States are properly handled.
No, whenever it stays at one of these, I end up pretty screwed.
The DOJ can provide
Overall.
critical technical support for local law enforcement and play a critical agenda-setting role. With respect to the department's core responsibilities,
Dang, I should have been making sure all of my arrows go in the direction of it and not the void, so that way I could get them back later. I hadn't thought to do that.
civil rights, and combating foreign
I don't know where the hell I'm gonna get a hold of enough chickens
authority and
to give me a chance
accountability.
of making enough arrows.
Evidence shows that the Biden administration's
I knew it. I should have come with a whole stack of arrows.
protect law-abiding citizens and
Well, let's see. It's coming down. It's doing the thing. When it gets down here, I'm going to hit it a bunch.
unserious and dangerously politicized. Prosecution and charging decisions are infused with racial and partisan.
I'm right with that because I'm just gonna go back and get my shit.
Laws are ignored. Point 21. The FBI harasses protesting parents who branded
Doesn't matter. It's like getting close to dead, so I'm just gonna keep trying.
while working diligently to shut down politically disfavored speech on the pretext of its being misinformation or
I think I needed to crouch while I did that or something like that. I don't remember.
Department that prosecutes FACE Act cases while ignoring dozens of violent attacks on pregnancy care centers and or the coordinated violation of laws that prohibit attempts to intimidate Supreme Court justices by parading outside of their homes. 23 has clearly lost its way. A department that is twice engaged in covert domestic election interference and propaganda operations, the Russian collusion hoax in 2000.
Come down here, asshole.
The Hunter Biden laptop suppression in 2020 is a threat to the republic. Point 24.
Get down here and let me kick your ass.
Focus on public
Oh, it's doing it again.
culture of respect for the rule of law is a gargantuan task that will involve at minimum 4 overriding actions. L. Restoring the FBI's integrity. L. Renewing the DOJ's focus on
Okay, get out of here. Hit a golden apple.
dismantling domestic and international.
Hope I don't have too many Endermen on me right now. I'm sure I do have a couple.
Pursuing a national security agenda aimed at external.
No, is this guy on me? Yeah, he is.
Not US citizens
Get outta here.
exercising their constitutional rights. Restoring the FBI's integrity. The
I just need to keep trying that. I don't have a chance. Get out of here.
There was hardly any systematic way of enforcing the law across this now broad landscape of America.
That's fun. Kind of hurts though. Yep, not gonna keep doing that.
When it dedicates its resources and energies to
Wow, what did he just do?
violent crime, 26 criminal organizations, 27 child predators, 28 cybercrime.
Oh my god, what the fuck are they talking? This is just getting crazier and crazier. I'm focused on Minecraft at this point.
Regarding the FBI's role in the Russia hoax
Oh shit,
2016,
not enough.
big tech
Shit!
suppression of
Damn it!
Biden's laptop in 2020's
Damn, it was going down. I could hit it more.
FBI is completely out
My
of
dog finally showed up for the final fight?
the Constitution, fight crime effectively, and protect
The game broke for like the past 7 hours of gameplay and my dog just showed up right then? What was that? What kind of dramatic...
and integrity and enhance
What was that? My dog showed up. He found me.
To do so, the next conservative administration should conduct an immediate, comprehensive review of all major active
Gotta stop dying. I gotta hope that my shit doesn't get blown up too. I know that that would be... Apparently that would be like a bad thing.
Interest point 30. This is an enormous task, but it is necessary to re-earn the American people's trust in the FBI and its work. To conduct this review, the department should
I'm not using my 2 arrows on this damn dragon.
national security
I'm gonna have to just wait and I'm just gonna have to keep recycling these moments.
questionable activities and elevate them to appropriate DOJ leadership consistent with the new chain
I really hope it doesn't get locked into flying up there though, so I have a chance.
The department should also consider issuing a public report of the findings from this review as appropriate.
Oh my god. Page 555 of 884.
Its law enforcement
Oh my god.
security purposes.
This is straight trash. All this sucks.
Often opined that the FBI views itself as an independent agency.
What's it doing? What's it doing? What's it doing?
The attorney
Dodging that.
in terms of stature, but the fact remains that T.E. Federal Bureau of Investigation is located in the Department of Justice. 31. It is not independent from the department, just as immigration.
Keep trying, asshole.
Enforcement is
Hopefully all these Endermen go after you later.
Department of Homeland Security
Oh, that one's gonna hurt.
not deserve to be treated as if it were. The next conservative administration should direct the Attorney General to
Oh, that one didn't even land.
Deputy Attorney Generals
Fuck, that one didn't either.
within the department's organization
Come down here and fight me, you asshole.
under the general supervision of the Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division and the supervision of the Assistant Attorney General for that.
Please, this is one of my last chances to do this. Enchanted golden apple.
Can be accomplished.
It's time, let's go. Ah, what? All this is all this is gonna do is save me from these guys.
Does not need
I'm not gonna be able to use it for something good. Get down here, you prick.
structure would allow
Get down here.
to play an important role in advising the department's leadership on emerging threats and updating notable investigations through daily briefings conducted with the Criminal Division and National Security Division leadership. But it would also place the FBI under a politically accountable leader with fewer things
You idiots think I can't kill hordes of you?
General or the
How do you think I got here?
all notifications and approvals that currently run to the Deputy Attorney
Leave me alone, dragon. You suck.
General should be evaluated
I might still die. That would suck. Let's not do that.
where appropriate.
Let's generally try not to do that.
Assistant Attorney General. Such a move would better align
Damn it, dragon. Leave me
the
alone.
mission of the divisions with which it most often interacts and emphasize the need for the areas on which it should focus. In general, however,
I do not need 20 of these. They're not useful. Oh, I'm gonna miss another round of it coming down. And I just set off more, it looks like. What the hell?
within its area of responsibility.
I get that you guys have anxiety. That's your problem. If you have social anxiety, it's not my problem.
And activities related to combating the spread of so-called misinformation and disinformation by Americans who
God, now they're talking more about stupid shit.
criminal activity. The FBI, along with the
Damn
rest
it.
of the
Now it's like a chain reaction.
hard reset on
I just can't kill enough of them.
scope of its legitimate activities. It must not look to or rely on the past decade as precedent or legitimization for continued action in certain spaces.
Come on. I think there's just one more.
This is especially true with respect to activities that the FBI and the U.S. government writ large claim are efforts to combat misinformation,
Oh no, come on.
malinformation. The United States government and, by
3 of them are still coming after me? You're kidding me.
absolutely no business
How?
policing
I did not look at any of you. To produce. Oh no, they're angry at him.
print or online.
Good, keep it away.
The First Amendment.
We'll get him down here then if you guys are helping.
The United States is the the world's last best hope for
Get him down here if that's the truth.
and its survival relies on the ability of our people to have healthy cities free from government intervention.
Oh my god. I just want to be done.
Through its officials, is certainly able to speak and provide information to the public. That is a healthy component of an informed society. But government must never manipulate.
Get down here, you fiend.
Censor information that is potentially harmful.
I know I have like 8 of those vanishing areas somewhere.
This is the way of totalitarian dictatorships, not of free constitutional republics. The DOJ needs a hard firewall between its legitimate activities, monitoring online.
Oh, come on, that was such a minimal amount of damage. Okay, I know the vibe though. I now know the vibe though. I'm just going to start circling this and waiting for it to come, and then what, are you kidding me? What do you want with me?
Based on the content and or viewpoints expressed or its self-censoring speech.
Get out of my way.
Streamline the non-law enforcement functions within the FBI, such as its Office of General Counsel, and obtain those services from other offices within the department.
Get down here, dragon.
The next conservative
I
administration
take issue with you.
eliminate any offices within the FBI that it has the power to
Fire resistant too. That's cool.
action from Congress Point 34, for example.
Do it. It's coming down. That's it. That's it coming down. I need to get down here.
300 attorneys within its office
And
of
then
General
figure out which direction it's going to put its head immediately.
Involved in some of the FBI's most damaging recent scandals. Point 35. These attorneys are not necessary to the functioning of the FBI in their current capacity. Legal advice should
Okay,
come from
cool.
attorneys
I'm just going to cycle this
whether those
and hope I have a
attorneys
chance.
recommend them. Criminal
It'll come down a few more times, and eventually I'll have this dragon beat, and I will no longer have to do this challenge, and it will be over.
Office of Legal Counsel. Holding legal review outside the FBI would serve as a crucial check.
I'm finding if I just very quickly, oh dear, if I just very quickly move my cursor up so I don't look at them, I'll be fine.
The FBI does not need its own Office of Congressional Affairs separate and apart from the DOJ Office of Legislative Affairs, nor does it need its own Office of Public Affairs.
Get down here and fight me, you dragon.
L emphasize, fund, and reward field offices while shrinking headquarters staff. While the FBI has
Does this purple stuff hurt? Oh, it does. Wonderful.
It should likely be fulfilled by a team.
Come down here, dragon. Fight me.
The next conservative administration should make a priority of deploying, funding, and rewarding the work of.
No way. Is its AI based on whether or not I'm looking at it? No. Okay.
The Department
That
of
looks like it's coming down.
value badges
No, okay, it just went that way. Whatever.
must rethink its internal
Sure,
reporting
whatever.
structures, and should aim to realign the FBI's resources accordingly.
Alright, this is now a war of attrition. How many times it will come down, how many times it will let me hit it before this is over. I'm sure if I had more arrows it'd be fine. I just don't. This is trash.
Came to an end following his death in 1972, and in light of oversight conducted
Get down
by
here.
Congress into alleged intelligence community and FBI abuses in the 1970s, Congress limited the director's tenure to one 10-year term. 36. The realities of the FBI's abuses and overreach in recent years demonstrate that further reform is still necessary.
I should have made more arrows. I should have focused on chicken at the end. So I was ready for this in terms of the actual fight, but
Other federal department or agency.
not in terms of having enough material.
Ensure prompt political accountability.
Not in terms of having enough feathers to make arrows with, is my main issue apparently.
Should seek a legislative change to align the FBI director's position with those of the heads of all.
Alright, you know what? At this point, this game is back to waiting. I'm just going to wait for it to come over here, and I'm going to listen
Focus on
to the
violent
actual
crime.
book.
Despite the DOJ's pronouncements that violent crime continues to be a top priority,
Oh.
it's increased across the United States. The department
So, they want to come down on crime, they want to be law and order, despite electing a felon,
United States, and
which makes so much sense.
partnership with state and local
So much sense, certainly.
in a manner that
Lots and lots and lots and lots of sense to elect a...
those states targeting violent and career criminals, not parents. The next conservative
Oh, this is another one of those sentences that they've said multiple times.
an effort to reducing violent crime nationwide. The The Attorney General should require all U.S. attorneys to develop a jurisdictional specific plan whenever possible in coordination with state and local law enforcement to reduce violent crime within each of their districts.
It's like, it's just not coming over here.
Then the Attorney General should hold each U.S. attorney
What am I supposed to do about that?
for achieving actual results. In recent years, federal and state officials have succumbed to calls from anti-law enforcement advocates for so-called criminal justice reform. The pleasant-sounding terminology of reform masks the darker reality of this movement, which is one that has supported dismantling effective federal, state, and local law enforcement and stripped away some of the...
That's all you guys do, except with conservation, sustainability, health, and housing. You do the exact same dark thing of dismantling effective federal everything. Fourth day. At least I'm fighting the dragon now. It just won't come the fuck down here and fight me. It's a fucking baby. Come down here. Hi, bed. Oh, is it heading? Nope. Okay, it's just gonna keep doing this forever. Whatever. God.
Resources and energies to combating imaginary, politically convenient threats of violence toward members of school boards and their staffs during the heat of the Virginization occurs, the department's political leadership should take concrete steps to use agency reach and resources.
I only have 6, so I have to be so damn intentional. That's 1. Okay, let's see if that'll get him down.
The business model of these criminal organizations, which are massive, diversified enterprises with nationwide...
See if that gets it down. Pisses it off enough to come down now. Will it? I don't think so. But hey, I tried. Get down here, dragon. This is ridiculous. Just thoroughly ridiculous.
For example,
There's no universe in which it should take this much time to beat the stupid dragon. Is it moving a little bit, at least? Get down here. Get down here. You suck, get down here. How do you keep flying through this shit? It doesn't make any sense. It's like its AI is acting almost as if I get a chest. Hey, I cheat. So like a chest just to put my stuff in every time I die? Okay, let's see if I can hit him. Oh no, that's terrible. That's another one. Good. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Into space? Into water? Oh, I caught it. That was huge. Yeah, glad I set up everything like that. Alright, who's angry at me? One of you is angry at me, clearly. Here we are. Someone's angry.
Fentanyl precursors of the Chinese Communist Party led People's Republic of China, 49 weapons.
They're just saying what crimes they particularly want them to go harder on.
Mexican drug
Get
cartels,
fucked.
including the dominant Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel, CJ&G, are the main drivers of fentanyl production and distribution in the United States. The southwestern land border is sufficiently porous that Mexican drug cartels have operational control of large sections of the border, which facilitates easy movement of product and personnel. These cartels are also violent
get out of
and
here.
not afraid to demonstrate force on both sides of the border. Their conduct represents a clear and present
I swear to God, if I keep missing shit because of this fucking Enderman, I'll be so pissed.
Finalizing the southwestern land border wall, the next administration should take a creative
Okay, fuck off.
approach to tackling the
Alright, dragon, get down here.
organizations at the border.
What? Did I just set off another one by accident? This is ridiculous.
Personnel and National Guardsmen to assist in arrest operations along the border, something that has
Fuck
not
off.
been done. A new and forceful approach to interdiction will have a ripple effect on the operations
Stop, leave me
of
alone.
criminal organizations, which currently operate freely without concern for criminal prosecution, and will lay the necessary groundwork for initial prosecution.
The issue is, all Endermen look literally the exact same, so I can't tell who's angry. Not easily.
That the federal government staunched the flow of drugs by preventing the far too easy access to the United States
Nope.
that now exists.
Man, I don't want to use one of my apples, damn it. But okay.
Biden administration has opened the southwest border to whomever wants to enter, and that some of those entrants are smuggling fentanyl into the country.
Alright, yes, they're complaining about fentanyl.
100,000 Americans died in a one-year period from opioid overdoses, and many of them died specifically from having used fentanyl. 50. The federal government should treat this problem as aggressively as necessary.
Damn.
Enforcing the customs.
Please, Dragon, calm the hell down. I'm tired. And I'm not able to consistently get him. Oh, try me, bitch. Try me, try me! Try me! There's water everywhere! Try me! Don't even!
And it must not refrain from engaging in public initiatives that identify our adversaries and educate the American people about their activities. The DOJ's China initiative under President Trump reflected the department's priority of combating.
And that water shorting, meaning all of my gear is about to be washed away over the edge. Shame. I knew that would happen eventually, but I'll figure it out.
Approximately 60% of all thefts of trade secrets. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions set key goals for the China initiative that included development of an enforcement strategy concerned by engaging in disparate.
Still fighting. I was worried I would miss you beating it. I'm still fighting. I'm gonna be fucking fighting for a long time because it won't calm the fuck down and let me hit it with a sword. So I'm gonna have to go kill a bunch of skeletons, get their arrows, and I need to make a new bow.
National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, the National Mediation Board, NMB, the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, FMC.
You know what? Hopefully there's more food down in that chest. That's what I'm hoping. Because a bow with power 1 is not going to be enough. Dang, I'm tired. I'm tired. Wish I could enchant arrows. I wonder if I could have done that, maybe. I don't know. Cool, I have plenty of food to keep running through rounds of this. Alright, back into it. Hopefully my stuff hasn't totally gone away, and I have a chance. Try again? Calm down. Dragon, I don't know what you want me to do anymore. You just kind of suck, and you're not getting out of the way. No way, am I about to beat it this way? This is not what I would have expected. It's slowing down more and more. Dude, it's almost low enough that I could hit it. Oh, that was bad. Shit. I'm not sure if these 15 are going to be enough. Got it? No way. No way. Will I have a chance? I don't know if I'm going to have enough. Shit, that one missed. I probably needed that. Hilariously and unbelievably. Ah! Oh! Yeah! No way! Oh my god! Oh, that's it. It's over. It's all over. 1,000,000 levels. Yeah. I'm done. Oh my god. I'm jumping in and I'm turning this fucking thing off. Here we go. Woo! Okay, that was it. I freaking did it. I'm so happy. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna get actual credits. I'm gonna get proper credits rolling while once I do turn it off. But I just beat it, so I'm turning it off. That's it. It's over. I'm done. Oh my god, I feel so good. I feel so happy to be done with this. I'm gonna roll credits just because I always like the Minecraft credits. I remember it the couple of times I have seen them. And wow, 65 levels. What am I supposed to do with 65 levels? You just enchant everything ever and the game's over, I guess? Like, what is the point? I don't know. Alright, credits. Oh no. Well, I guess I can roll credits manually at the main screen. That'll be fun. Okay, saving world. Let me see if I remember how to get the credits to roll. I want to make sure I actually get to watch them. Credits. What is going to happen here? There you go, Minecraft. Minecraft Java Edition. Oh my god. I'm so fucking tired. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Oh my god. Wow. Okay. I don't know how many hours that's going to come out to. 12 plus 6 is like 18. Plus like 2 somewhere, so it's like 20. Plus like today, which is like 5. So like 25 to 30 hours of reading this fucking egregious Nazi manifesto of a goddamn document. I am so fucking done. And I am so incredibly informed. Like, uncomfortably, unnecessarily informed. You build your worldview and understanding of other people's politics through news and interactions with those people. But how often is it that you sit with their own writing and people that they prop up and people that they platform and their writings in order to form your opinion of them? I don't even know what to say. It has never been more apparent to me the extent to which conservatism is a threat to the freedom of all people than after having read this document. Like, I have never better understood the exact ways in which this is a threat to anyone who is not truly normative, right? I made a joke earlier on talking about, like, who is this document for? Who is the only person that's unaffected by this document? And I think the reality is, even though you can joke and say that it is a straight white young man who comes from money, lives in a rural area, and wants to have a nuclear household and is some form of Abrahamic Christianity, Judeo or Christian, yes, that person will be not hurt, but that person's going to get hurt too. Because all of society falls when we sacrifice the freedoms of any one person, of any one group, of any one person, and we start bitching about the idea of uplifting others for fear that it somehow gets in the way of ourselves. That is moral decay. Not diversity, not interest and equity, not the platforming of a greater diversity and number of transfigurations of the way that people live. That is not moral decay. This is moral decay. The need to standardize and return to form, the need to purify a culture is decay. That is failure. That is Cro-Magnon. That is pre-human, thoughtless, violent, bigoted intolerance. And this entire document is hellbent on one fucking thing, and that is returning America to a state of conservative purity through the use of executive power by empowering the president. So, breaking down, what is it? What is this document about? Someone who's had to read it for unbelievably far too long. I am on page 591 is where I ended up. 591 of the actual number of pages that were left for the PDF after it was converted. In terms of the actual writing, I'm at 559. So I almost hit 560. The document almost flows in order. It almost tells you what it wants in order. The entire first section, and the biggest point, is that this document is based around centralizing power in the president. A conservative president, though, never. They would never, ever want to centralize power into anyone other than a conservative president. So the point is to decentralize power in any social safety net, any semblance of pro-social, socially subsidized, anything good for fucking people needs to be decentralized, defunded, with no systems for which to keep it decentralized and sustained outside of centralization. So it's not like they're trying to decentralize. They're just defunding all social safety net and social programs. Okay? And they're all about decentralization and all about hating the Fed and all about hating centralization of power. But then they specifically just centralize as much power as possible into a conservative president. Okay? So that's the first lie, is that conservatives are in any way libertarian. No, they are not. They want to centralize power into the president in order to almost fascistly, almost authoritarianly mandate and support their definition of normativity. It is hilarious that towards the end, and in the Department of Justice section, they start talking about the idea that no government system should define what is orthodox, when this entire document is hell-bent on their definition of orthodox and the enforcement of it by their system of power, by literal fascism. So that's their first lie, is that they are in any way anti-authority. They are authority. Their entire point is to get rid of what authority exists to support individuals, right? And people and communities and anyone that isn't truly normative to them. That is one thing they're doing. And then at the same time, they are centralizing as much power as much as possible into the president. So that way they can lead into my second point, which is this focus on purity. Everything goes back to creating an American state that is culturally, racially, socially pure in a conservative Judeo-Christian fashion. Everything from the previous theme is for the point of that. They want to centralize power into the president to make that happen. So they will do that by taking on every possible perspective they can. There's also a general theme that came up of just deregulating everything for fossil fuel executives, for the fossil fuel industry. Like, there was an entire dedicated section on essentially just saying, get everything out of the way so that way fossil fuels can go crazy. Which is another lie. That is not energy resilience. That is the antithesis of energy resilience. I'm not the type of person to say we should cut cold turkey on fossil fuels. I'm saying that renewables, solar, wind, hydroelectric, wave, geothermal, these things can bolster our resilience to an extraordinary degree. And they are far more easy to decentralize. You would notice if they cared about real decentralization, they would focus on solar, they would focus on wind, they would focus on these things that individual communities can do and use to produce energy resilience and independence. But that was never the point. The point was to centralize power into the president and decentralize social safety nets. The point was to centralize money into the fossil fuel companies in order to make individual communities more and more reliant on those same fossil fuels. So that was this entire last part. That the entire document is about that one thing of emboldening the president to disenfranchise people in order to create a country of religious, cultural, social, and even racial purity. By subverting people's rights, by denying that abortion is healthcare, by everything is this one united front on the perfect nuclear white Judeo-Christian American family. This is the beginning of fascism. It is almost undeniably and irrefutably what looks like the sparks and embers of a fascist fire that may run through this country and maybe the entire world. This document has predicted. It has predicted. Okay, I'm going to go to Fool Me for a second, even though I love the credits of Minecraft. Mm-hmm. This document has predicted so many of the things we have seen in the campaign leading up to Trump's coming presidency, which he was inaugurated yesterday, this document predicted his executive orders. And I think that means, unfortunately, we should take enough trust in this document. Not that we agree with it, but that we have to trust how it works. We might go to war with China. I don't know. I'm sure there are other things I could pull from this. We can expect that the Department of Justice is going to focus on law and order, but only in a way that supports white people. We might go to fucking war with China. We might, I don't know what else, but they're following it to a T. It was in fact a mandate for conservative leadership, and there's one fucking conservative leadership, and it is Donald J. Trump. And he is already falling in line with this fucking document. We should take it as a threat, not a promise, not a guarantee, a threat. Because it was a threat. It is a threat. And I'm so disappointed that more effort was not put in to encouraging actual people to sit through and read this psychotic manifesto. Because if they had, they would have been radicalized to an incomprehensible degree. Which is what has happened to me throughout the 559 pages of which I have read. So with that in mind, Minecraft is beaten. But Trump is not. And the fight for an egalitarian world in which people do not have to fight and do not have to vie and do not have to worry, and in which people can actually be equal, in which they can pursue and self-determine and freely associate, the fight for that is not over. In fact, I think it is currently revving up, and I think it's important that you be ready to join the war effort, because it's coming. It's already here. So that's a depressing ending. Fuck you, Minecraft. Fuck you, skeletons. Fuck you, skeletons. Fuck you. Fuck you, skeletons. God, I hate skeletons. By the way, I started this document. I've always held the belief that the word Nazi is a heavy word. It's a word with history. It's a word with meaning. It is a word that I wanted to respect. Not the concept itself, respect. I wanted to respect using it and not throwing it around to retain that word's purity, because it needs to have a meaning, and its history is important, and it would be terrible to spit in the face of people and the history of people that were affected by Nazis and Nazism. I think that if after reading this document, you do not see the explicit connections between Hitler's Nazism and the white supremacy that is everywhere in this document and attributed to the entire American conservative movement, the MAGA movement, I think if you don't see that connection, you are just being ignorant. I think you are just purposely ignoring it. And it is with that in mind that I'm going to be significantly less judgy of people that just call Trump a Nazi, because he fucking is. I do not know what to say. Maybe the word has shifted a little bit into the modern day, huh? Like maybe they're not going to explicit war yet. When Elon Musk does a Nazi salute and tries to brush it off as like just a little autistic fuck up, oopsie, I didn't mean to, or I just meant like, whatever. No. There's no room. There's no room left to say that these people can be reached or that they are even worth reaching. They're still human. I'm not saying kill them. I'm saying defend yourself, because you are just as important, and they fundamentally do not believe that same thing towards you. If Nazi means anything, that is what the American right is. Trump just pardoned a bunch of like actual Nazis, by the way, like white supremacists. He just pardoned like a bunch of them with zero thought or consideration. That was like yesterday. Yeah. Wow. Boy, am I tired. I wanted to get the poem. I don't remember where the poem comes from. I wanted to get the poem. but I accidentally clicked escape to pause the game. But I wanted to get the Minecraft poem, but I guess I'm not going to get that, and that's okay. We will fight another time, maybe, and get that again, and I'll remember at that time. Okay. I do not believe that with a subscriber base of 1,000, that anyone watched this entire process. But if you did, thank you so much. This was a funny, stupid little idea. And I will make no commitment to finish reading this anyway. But I may stream Subnautica and listen to more of it. But I'm going to be really burnt out on it. Because that was terrible. Read it yourself too. Tell other people to read it yourself. Send them moments from this stream. And let them know that this shit happened. We can never, ever, ever let the American right forget that this document happened. Ever. It will not happen. This is insane. You know what else is insane? Me. I'm tired. I'm gonna log off now. Goodbye, stream. It was wonderful. Minecraft has been defeated. Join the quiet party if you haven't. Get subscribed for more hijinks and commentary. Goodbye. I'm tired.